Get the out of here.
But talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it.
On 93.5
Watch it.
and 107.5.
Boom, baby.
The Fan.
And a good Wednesday morning to the listeners of Kevin and Query. Thank you for tuning in to 93.5, 107.5, our YouTube audience as well. He was so good out of the bullpen yesterday. We've had to turn to him for a second day. Brendan King back with us. Got a lot of good lefties in this lineup, so we need you to come out of the bullpen again. Thank you, man.
Look, here's the thing. We had some serious pitch count yesterday, so my arm's tired, man. I don't know how long I could go, Coach. Skip, I don't know, man.
This is September. We need to win a series desperately to get into the postseason, so thank you, Brendan King.
They had some Enter Sandman going on my ride into the studio today.
Getting the call again at B King Sports on Twitter. Jake's still feeling a little bit under the weather. Hopefully, he will be back with us tomorrow. 36 hours away from Indiana and Purdue. We'll preview that in depth tomorrow as well. Get sides from the West Lafayette angle, the Bloomington angle, certainly the big man matchup, and how each of them defend each other will be fascinating. I can't wait for that college basketball environment tomorrow night. Will Carroll is going to join us today at 8:30. Unfortunately, some injury news that we'll get to here right off the bat, though. We want to talk to Will Carroll about Colts-related, I think kind of two angles to get to today, Brendan. One, a little bit more of a longevity of Reggie Wayne in the Hall of Fame vote that transpired yesterday. We'll have Sal Palantonio on to talk about that. Also, little Carson Wentz and NFL Divisional. But Mike Chappell will round things out. He's the presenter for Reggie Wayne in the Hall of Fame. So we'll get Chapp's thoughts. Also the first time we've talked to Chapp since his meeting with Jim Irsay. So I think it'll be nice to catch up with him. And then I think the other kind of Colts angle is looking at free agency. There is a lot of notable names on that list, but how many of them fall into like that must-resign category. Sorry about your Bulldogs last night, man.
It's just been accepted. It's bad. Is that apathy? That right? That's the definition of apathy.
I believe
where you
so.
accept it and know there's nothing you can do. I mean,
the David Woods stat that he tweets out seemingly every game. I'd have to go back and look it up, but they've been down at least 10 points in 30 of their last 40 games,
which is unbelievable. And that's why I asked Bob Kravitz yesterday of how bad is this? Because for me, my freshman year was the Brandon Miller year, which was terrible. But still, you had Chris Holtmann on that bench as an assistant coach, which may be the craziest thing of all. Not that Brandon Miller took an emergency leave and left, and that's the year after Brad Stevens left, right? But Chris Holtmann was on that bench as an assistant coming from Gardner-Webb, so you had that to fall back on. I don't see anything here, Kev.
Yeah, I unfortunately think you're right about that. Butler losing by 20 last night to UConn. They'll play them again on Thursday over at Hinkle Fieldhouse. The big Pacers news to get to today. They've got the Lakers tonight at 10:30. The Lakers actually only favored by 4.5. I saw in that one. Yesterday, I can't tell you how many times I said how excited, intrigued I am about what's going to transpire the next 3 weeks. But lo and behold, it wouldn't be the Pacers without a bit of a kick in the you-know-what, and that is the Myles Turner injury news from yesterday. A stress reaction in his left foot. He will be re-examined in 2 weeks. Woj, Shams, all the big national guys stating that in all likelihood, Turner will be out through the All-Star break. And just to get everybody on the same page, calendar-wise, the trade deadline, February 10th, the All-Star break, I want to say, is like the 17th or 18th, basically a little bit past that. So we are looking at a situation, Brendan, if and when Myles Turner is going to be traded, he will be hurt at the time of that trade. And this is pretty much worst-case scenario for the Pacers. We're talking about a foot injury to a big man. I've said this time and time again, when you've waited this long to trade one of your bigs, this was kind of the last-ditch effort. Because once you get past the trade deadline, Turner is now in an expiring contract. So if you trade him in the offseason, you've lost a large chunk of leverage of the desperate nature of teams right now that are in season and think they've got a chance. And, hey, we're just one piece away. I cannot stress enough how big of a blow this is to the Pacers and what they can get in return for Myles Turner.
So here's the question for you. If Turner goes, which I think everybody agrees that needs to happen, if Turner goes, is it a guarantee that Sabonis won't?
I think you're trading one of the two.
Okay. I'm not sure if you read the report, Sam Amick from USA Today, Sacramento 100% on Sabonis' radar.
Part of me has thought at one point, like, whatever you can get the best return for,
right,
you would move one of them. But I've just been so turned off by how Turner's played since he started to chirp a month ago.
The body language has been brutal.
Body language, his play has not been good. The body language has pissed me off. I think we're starting to get to a little bit of an availability thing. I don't know. Sabonis has dealt with some injuries, but Turner missed 25 games last year in a 72-game season with turf toe, I believe, on the other foot. Now it's this, and just, big men and foot injuries, man. Like that, How
about the Pacers and foot injuries?
Well, that too. And again, that's something to talk with Will Carroll about when we have him on at 8:30. Just who is going to be dumb and desperate enough to trade for Myles Turner and give you the return that you would think you deserve for him? Like, you need to literally give... Here are all of our medical records. Like, you need to be so transparent with this because, think about it. If you are the Knicks or the Hornets or the Warriors, I'm trying to think of like these other teams, Raptors that have been thrown around with Turner, he is an expiring contract coming up next season. You would probably like to extend him. You would probably not just want to trade him and then say, oh, yeah, we're good with you, man. We'll give up, whatever, a first-round pick and a young asset, and we're content with you walking. So you want to know everything about this situation. And this is not like a torn Achilles or something like that. But when you start to get a foot injury for a big guy, because think back when Turner was drafted, Brendan. When he came out of Texas, a big thing people were hesitant about with him was, and I'm going to say how he ran. I think the word that a lot of like Ivy Leaguers use is his gait. I'm like,
yeah, that's
right, can we all act like we're at a third grade level and say he runs a bit awkwardly? Like
his knee's screwed up, right? Is that what it is?
I don't know if it's that, but there was some awkwardness to how he ran that I think caused people to be a little bit hesitant coming out of Texas. Like, is that something that is still here? Are there teams that maybe didn't red flag him back when he came out of Texas, but thought, hey, this is just a little bit of a weird situation. Big guys and injuries, especially lower body stuff. We don't know how he's going to hold up over, a decade-long NBA career. Will you have any of that now come back up with teams that are like, boy, we just needed one little sign to make us hesitant and push back on the trade offer? Gosh, this just stinks, man.
Well, do you think teams look at Turner and say or feel that they see his defensive stats and that's worth the shot? Because that's why I asked yesterday with Cravey of when you trade Myles, your defense is going to suffer, right? I think everybody can agree on that.
Yeah.
Defense is
sure,
going to suffer.
Definitely.
So, Kevin, in the NBA, there's a lot of teams willing to take chances, clearly, and there's there's a lot of teams that will give guys second chances. I mean, Carmelo Anthony, Lance Stevenson's still in the league. Carmelo Anthony's still in the league.
I think when you get into physical injuries with big guys, though, and you're talking about trading for them, I think that is the issue at hand here. Like, yesterday, you brought up the Nikola Vucevic trade of what the Bulls gave up to the Magic to get him. So you said what? 2 first-round picks, Wendell Carter and Otto Porter.
Yes.
Let's just say, hypothetical, I'm not saying this, but again, just to play the game, that same trade package was on the table for Myles Turner. Now, all of a sudden, does this injury news say, hey, man, we're taking away one of those first-round picks? or we're taking away Wendell Carter. Like, is it to that level? I don't know if it is, but if I were trading for Turner, I'd be a little bit scared right now of just giving up. King's ransom is not what you were going to give up for him, but I think you were going to get a nice return for him. How much is hurt by that? The other two things that kind of pop into my head, the only bit of good news I see in this, because again, it sounds like Turner will miss through the trade deadline. That's 10, 15 some games. Hello minutes for Goga and hello minutes for Isaiah Jackson.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful thing because you need to evaluate these guys in consistent night in, night out roles. So that is a great thing for the Pacers in evaluating those two. And then the other thing, and I say this more of just kind of a Pacers fan over the last 6 years or so, have we seen the final game of Myles Turner in a Pacers uniform?
Potentially. I'm still kind of surprised he gets ovations during starting lineup announcements.
Like to the level that he gets it?
Yeah, it's still pretty good.
Would he rank atop is he getting a louder cheer than Domas?
I wouldn't say so, but I've gone to a lot of games, which, I mean, thanks to the Pacers for the credential and everything, but I've gone to as many as I can.
Maybe it's Turner's block.
Yeah, they're making all of those. No, I mean, Sabonis and Turner are comparable in the ovations they get. Here's the thing about Sabonis, Kev. That Sacramento thing is intriguing for one name and one name only. That's De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I would take him in a heartbeat.
What, De'Aaron Fox and a first-round pick for Sabonis?
Oh my, yeah, yes.
I don't know if Kevin Pritchard could ever do that.
Are the Kings going to miss the playoffs? I assume.
I would assume so. They fired Bill Walton Jr., right?
Yeah, Luke. Mark, will you look up where the Kings are in the Western Conference right now? Yeah, I would. Yeah, if I'm getting a lottery pick in De'Aaron Fox, yeah, I have no idea if that would happen. I am a very pro Sabonis guy because I think we take for granted a lot of what he does. His consistent scoring.
Yeah.
His facilitating within the half court, his screening, all of that. And I also can sit here and acknowledge, and hell, just look at Sunday. He gave up 139 when Turner wasn't in the lineup. I mean, tonight the over-under of Lakers-Pacers is 222 and a half.
Holy cow.
I'm like, whoa, that is a huge number. Because, again, the Lakers have struggled here recently, and we'll get into the Frank Vogel stuff a little bit later, but
Sacramento Kings coming in at 18-28, good enough for 11th in the West.
Yeah, no chance.
so boom. I mean, there's a lottery pick coming your way. I assume I don't know what their draft picks are.
They drafted a guy we both liked in Davion Mitchell.
Right.
So clearly.
And Tyrese Halliburton had a great rookie season.
I'm a big fan of him too. So look, you get De'Aaron Fox back in the Midwest. That's the expense of Sabonis, a guy, one of the only guys on the team, right, that can consistently take it to the bucket and score.
Yeah, I mean, the only consistent scoring threat for you.
And if you trade Karis LeVert.
Available. I think Sabonis has only missed one game, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. And then if you trade, so let's say you trade Myles and Karis LeVert, are you comfortable enough, like actually, I mean, that brings up the Herb question, are you comfortable enough actually tanking? If you trade those three, oh, that's going to be bad. And you mentioned the minutes for Goga and Isaiah Jackson. They're not going to win you games.
No, and
that's not the goal. I get, but
I don't
is
care
Herb
about
going to
winning
be fine
games.
with that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fair question that you ask. I also think there is kind of a Herb Simon organizational question that my mind kind of got racing with a little bit more. Like, how deep are these organizational issues right now for the Pacers? It's something that I think we can talk about a little bit later in the show. Again, the only good news I see out of this is more minutes for Goga and Isaiah Jackson. We'll have Will Carroll on in a little bit over an hour to talk more about this Myles Turner injury. Missed 25 games last year, largely due to turf toe. If you add up the games through the All-Star break, he's looking at about 18 or 20 missed this season. Again, does that strike fear in a team of saying, hey, here's our, A trade package we're going to offer you. Now you're not getting anything more than a B- trade package from our end. I think that's where we're at right now with Myles Turner. Again, at B King Sports on Twitter. Brendan King filling in. I'm Kevin Bowen, K-Bowen 1070. Matt Eberflus, Colts defensive coordinator, Brendan. A second interview being reported will be coming tomorrow with the Jags. It sounds like Shad Khan. I think Albert Breer maybe had this from Sports Illustrated. Shad Khan, their owner, home base I believe in Illinois at some point. I mean, he's probably got several home bases, but a Champaign native. I think he went to Illinois. He's coming over for the second interview. That's obviously a big deal for him. I'm a little bit surprised to see Matt Eberflus as potentially a finalist in Jacksonville. Do you think they looked at the season finale and thought, you made Trevor Lawrence look so good in that game, can you come here and do that? Can you let us know what your secrets are?
I mean, they had to discuss that, right? Actually, I take that back, Kev. That would be very Jaguars to interview the guy and not even talk about the embarrassment that his defense had in their building just a week prior. I mean, hell, Urban Meyer was smoking Cubans on Saad Khan's yacht, and that didn't turn out too well. So I can't believe it, Kevin. I truly can't believe it. If you're the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence just went through like an emotional divorce with Urban Meyer, and he just won you a game to end the year. Don't you want to give him like an offensive head coach to ease him into year two?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest head-scratching aspect. I have some questions about Eberflus in terms of, really being that follow-the-leader type of presence inside of a locker room as a head coach. I think that is where I probably have my biggest question with him. I get that he's instilled the culture with the Colts defense that, you play on effort, relatively simple, and it's led to some success in areas. There are other areas that it hasn't led to success on that side of the ball. And I do think culturally, they're clearly looking for something a bit drastically different than what they just had, or have had, I should say, in recent years from the head coach. But the Trevor Lawrence offensive debate, I think, is one of the biggest aspects to this hire. If you don't get Trevor Lawrence right, you're not getting Jacksonville's situation right.
Yeah, I mean, you better get a hell of an offensive coordinator.
Right, and so I'm like this, Brendan. Let's say, and again, I'm just throwing out names here. Let's say Matt Eberflus wants to bring Marcus Brady with him as offensive coordinator to Jacksonville and says to Marcus Brady, you're going to call plays here. If I'm not mistaken, I think Brady interviewed for the OC job with Urban. So there's some organizational, whatever, background or intrigue, at least with Brady. Well, what happens when Trevor Lawrence, or if Trevor Lawrence has 2 great seasons, and just like, Matt LaFleur moved on to be the Green Bay head coach. I mean, we see it all the time in the NFL. The hot coordinator with the young quarterback eventually moves on. And it happens a little bit more frequently than maybe the resume should indicate that it happens. Are you back at square one with trying to make sure that Trevor Lawrence is in the right offensive system, has some sort of continuity and stability? Like, Tom Moore staying with Peyton Manning would never happen in today's NFL.
Right.
Never. That young coordinator is moving on 10 times out of 10. And so that's where I'm like, boy, do you really want to start over? If you get Lawrence on a right path, which clearly he wasn't as a rookie. So if you get him down the right path, now do you have to start that over again in 2 years if you make a hire like this?
This might be giving the Jaguars way too much credit, and I probably am. But to bring up what you just said, maybe they feel decent enough about Lawrence as a professional, because we don't know. There was no hard knocks on the Jaguars, so we don't know what this kid went through this year. Maybe they feel good enough about his mental stability to bring in a defensive head coach. They get their defense right.
Risky, man.
I know that's giving them way too much credit, probably. Yeah. And that scenario may have a 2% chance of being true. Maybe Trevor Lawrence impressed the hell out of him this year. I don't know, but that's a head scratcher. If they hire a defensive head coach and they don't get the offensive coordinator right, see you, Trevor. I mean,
and I've said this before. I don't think this would be the worst thing in the world for the Colts. I think him walking. No. I think
you get Vic Fangio here for an interview immediately.
You just get some new life and some new blood. So we'll see how that plays out with Matt Eberflus. Sounds like tomorrow for his second interview in Jacksonville. We'll play some Chris Ballard audio. I know a lot of people are curious if he were to leave, where would the Colts go at defensive coordinator? Ballard has some audio on that. We'll play that as well. Again, Brendan King filling in for Jake Query. I'm Kevin Bowen. You're listening to Kevin and Query right here on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Rick Venturi joins us. Rick, how does this roster look now?
The overall roster is really not bad. The problem is when you get past Taylor and Leonard, you lack the playmaking ability to change game. We have so much money tied up in guys that play in the box. Game in the NFL is one on the edges and one on the corner.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 till 6
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Come to Auto Sales and Service and drive home in a vehicle with no credit required. They've been helping people find a new ride in Indy for 35 years. Stop by their 2 Indianapolis locations.
Switch to Spectrum Mobile and get unlimited data for only $29.99 per month each when you get 2 or more lines. You could save hundreds on your mobile bill. Plus, there are no added taxes, hidden fees, and no contracts. Try the Spectrum Mobile Savings Calculator today, and in 3 easy steps, you'll see how much you could save. Visit SpectrumMobile.com/save. Offer valid for new customers on 2 or more unlimited lines. Spectrum Internet required. Restrictions apply. Visit SpectrumMobile.com for details.
Home values have skyrocketed.
Which means, even if you refinanced in the last year, you can still save money with Golden Oak Lending's low 1.875% rate.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With our low rates and your increased equity, you can make home improvements, eliminate your mortgage insurance, or pay off those holiday credit charges. Woohoo!
Call 317-706-GOLD today and skip your first 2 mortgage payments.
And remember, if we can't close your loan, the appraisal is no charge.
Golden Oak's low 1.875% rate is as good as money in your pocket. Call 317-706-GOLD today and start saving.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 1.875% fixed, 2.952% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
The NFL playoffs are in full gear, and everyone can get on the action as a risk-free bet from FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account, all customers get up to $10 back if your same-game parlay doesn't win. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. Same-game parlays let you combine multiple bets from one matchup for a big payout. You can combine bets on the money line, point spread, player stats, and so much more. Personally, I like the player-specific stats, whether it's anytime touchdown scores or over and rushing yards or receiving yards, whatever you want. Make it how you want. You get $10 back even if you don't win. Offers like this are one of the many reasons I love betting the NFL on FanDuel Sportsbook. The app is safe, secure, and easy to use. They're America's #1 sportsbook for a reason, because you get lightning-fast payouts in as little as 24 hours. If you already have an account, just place your first bet risk-free on the same-game parlay app for any divisional round playoff game to qualify. New customers join today with promo code MARK to get your first bet risk-free. Plus, if you're first-time betting with FanDuel, you can enjoy 30-1 odds on any team in the divisional round to win. After, again, using promo code MARK, turn $5 into $150. Promo code MARK, M-A-R-C, only on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Bonus issued is now withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, are you a single professional man looking for a life mate? If your do-it-yourself approach for finding her isn't getting you the results you want, why not hire a pro, like me, so you can take your game to a new level? I'm Amy Owen, singles coach and matchmaker. Maybe you've been looking for a while, or maybe you're newly divorced or widowed and haven't had a date in years, even decades. I can offer you tips, strategies, and introductions to some of Indy's finest single women. These ladies are active, attractive, fit, smart, accomplished, and financially self-sufficient. The only thing missing from their lives is the love and companionship of a good man. If that's you, please give me a call at 317-727-6331. That's 727-6331. Or check out my website, blueribbonsingles.com. Why Blue Ribbon Singles? Because it's the winners who get the blue ribbon.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for their e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Visit TwinPeaksRestaurant.com/Peaks-Club. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
We're all in. Don't miss the biggest party of the year. Zach Brown Band live. Out in the Middle Tour. July 28th, Ruoff Music Center. The multi-platinum, Grammy Award-winning Zach Brown Band with special guests. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. Before the general public on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Get tickets at Live Nation. Zach Brown Band, live.
A new year comes with new excitement, new ambitions, new milestones. Is this the year you pop the question, have a child? Celebrate a major anniversary. At Diamonds Direct, we're here for you, now more than ever. With our vast selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds, our world-renowned designer jewelry collections, our industry-leading warranties and guarantees, and our people. People with a passion for helping you mark any occasion with something that's both meaningful and timeless. And our commitment to providing exceptional value is stronger than ever in the new year. Whether you're just starting out on a tight budget or whether you're splurging on that 30th anniversary gift, Diamonds Direct will make sure you get the price that you expect from America's premier direct diamond importer. Welcome to a new year and welcome to Diamonds Direct, where extreme value combines with the ultimate luxury shopping experience to create that truly magical moment for the milestones in your life. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Official jeweler of the Indianapolis Colts, Keystone at the Crossing.
The SportsCenter update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Down by at least 10 points in 30 of their last 42 games. Brendan, that is the Butler stat from David Woods.
That's how you're going to start my Wednesday, huh?
Sorry, man.
No, it's okay.
76-59. Butler loses to UConn last night. 30% from the field, 31% from three. LaVall Jordan on Butler falling to 9-8 on the season.
We've just got to do a better job with our discipline. We put them on the foul line way too much early. Gave up threes to guys that we knew could shoot and didn't get to them. So we just got to execute better on both sides of the ball. But it was our defensive execution early on that got us in the hole. And then they do a heck of a job on the glass, always have. And so if you do get it right, you still got to battle when the shot goes up. And 16 is way too many.
Sounds pretty defeated to me.
The problem is they didn't do it right. So I don't know what Val's talking about. But, man, it's frustrating. You get 40-pieced at Nova. You're not ready to play. You're clearly not ready to play yesterday. But I will be at Hinkle on Thursday. I'm still here, Kev.
Yeah, one of the few that will be paying attention to that game versus the other notable game Thursday night in the state of Indiana. It is Purdue at Assembly Hall. It should be a tremendous college basketball environment as the Hoosiers host the Boilers. 7 o'clock tip. FS1 for your TV purposes, listening purposes over on WIBC. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. Just an important stretch for Indiana coming up. Obviously, we know what Purdue should mean to that program and those players. It hasn't meant what it needs to mean over the past few years. But you've got 4 or 5 at home. We watched Maryland last night get drilled up at Michigan. That's the one road game in this stretch. So, for the most part, Indiana is a tournament team right now. You can kind of cement that to a degree here over the next handful of games.
Another big part of the pregame is Mike Woodson's suit watch.
Well, he goes suit every time, right? Inside of Assembly Hall?
Oh, has he? Because I keep on following the tweets where they're close to undefeated when he wears a suit, and they have not won, I believe, or only one win when he wears a...
So he went pretty casual suit. Like, he kind of went, I'm at a destination wedding suit at Nebraska. I don't know if Lincoln brought that out of him, but, everyone was wearing kind of the Martin Luther King reference T-shirts. He went with the suit jacket, or the jacket over that there. I assume he'll go full suit tomorrow night inside of Assembly Hall.
Personally, I think coaches should wear suits. It's just I was disappointed that COVID brought along the jumpsuits.
Now, Trace Jackson-Davis guarding Zach Edey, no questions asked, or do you throw Race Thompson on Zach Edey to try and save Trace on both ends of the floor and obviously try to save a little bit of foul trouble?
I was going to ask you that same question.
And do you double?
Yeah,
You know?
Well, here's the problem,
And
though.
vice versa, I guess. Does Purdue double Trace?
If Trace Jackson-Davis gets into foul trouble, Purdue has the ability to just go to their wealth, or go to the fountain of youth. There's like, hey, Caleb First, you want to go play? Hey, Travion, you want to play a couple extra minutes? It's unbelievable. They have that distinct X factor to just reach into their stockpile and be like, all right, we're going to attack you with another 7-footer. And if Jackson-Davis struggles and Race Thompson struggles, that could be game over at that point.
For the rivalry and the resume, this game should mean more to Indiana.
It should.
It should. It hasn't, again, in recent years. Curious to see when the line comes out later today on how much Purdue will be favored by in that one. All right, tonight, the West Coast trip continues for the Pacers. They are at the Lakers. It is a 10:30 tip from the Staples Center or Crypto Center, whatever the hell it's called. Lakers beat the Jazz on Monday. They are like locked into a play-in situation right now in the West. Frank Vogel, there's reports of him that he was coaching for his job on Monday. It was just a ludicrous statement. Gotta love, a year removed, a little bit over a year removed from winning an NBA title, and like he's coaching for his job in January.
They were talking about that last year even.
Like his roster is literally a nursing home of guys.
Yeah. I mean, technically he is coaching for his job. It's his job. But
You know what I'm getting at.
I know what you're saying.
David Fizdale, one seat over, and him and LeBron have a little bit of history together. Since December 10th, Brendan, the Pacers have beaten one team that has a record of better than 15 games below 500.
Utah?
The Jazz, the lone win in that stretch. They've only won 3 games in that stretch, and Detroit and Houston being the other 2.
We're going to look back at this year. If this year ends up being worse than last year, and we could finally apologize to Nate Bjorkgren and just slash the beef, we swept the Utah Jazz out of all people.
Yeah, that's
remarkable.
Yeah, I know Gobert didn't play, I think, in the second of the 2. Gobert and Turner, of course, got into it in that first one. Yeah, still.
That win in Utah is perplexing.
They'll always have the Utah sweep.
Yes, of course.
Yes, hang the banner.
Hang the banner. Could you put it in Lucas Oil Stadium, actually, instead of Gainbridge Fieldhouse?
We'll see if Jim Irsay's got some room for that inside of Lucas Oil Stadium. He's Brendan King. He's filling in today for Jake Query. Jake's still a little bit under the weather. We're going to have Will Carroll on in about an hour to talk a little bit Myles Turner injury situation. Also want to ask about Eric Fisher and the Achilles. Is the second year for Eric Fisher something to where he can get back to more of an adequate pass blocking level? And then more Colts talk in the 9 o'clock hour. Sal Palantonio in my chapel. When we come back, I do want to get Brendan's thoughts on the free agent list for the Colts. Offensively, defensively, a lot of notable names there. But when I look at the list, Brendan, I don't see a lot of must re-sign. So curious your thoughts on that. We'll hit that when we come back here. 7:30 hour coming up on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Pacers' stay in L.A. continues as they face the Lakers. Tonight at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Hey, Carrie, you know how we like to say that high school sports are the purest form of amateur sports?
Pure spirit, pure sport. That's Indiana high school athletics.
Well, I learned something the other day that further proves that.
I'm interested. Tell me more, Chris.
Well, we all know what amateur means, but do you know the root of its meaning? It means for the love of.
Wow, you're right. That really does reinforce the idea that high school sports are the purest form of sport.
Fans, I'm IHSA Assistant Commissioner Chris Kaufman.
And I'm Assistant Commissioner Carrie Rosati.
If you want to watch sports in their purest form, get a ticket and go support your high school sports teams.
Everyone there, from the players and coaches to the fans and officials, they're there simply for the love of the game.
Pure spirit.
Pure sport.
This is Pure Spirit. This is Pure Sport. This is your IHSAA.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook wants you to experience Rush Pay. When you want to cash out your winnings, you don't want to wait 2 days just to get the go-ahead to withdraw your money. That's why Bet Rivers created Rush Pay. With Rush Pay, 80% of withdrawal requests are approved instantly, meaning you'll get your money faster. Why wait? Get your cash when you want it. Bet with a winner. Bet with Bet Rivers Sportsbook at betrivers.com. Must be 21 and located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Hey, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get out of town. If you want to take that dream vacation or even a weekend getaway, then you got to go to the AAA Vacation Expo. That's right, the AAA Vacation Expo, Saturday, February 12th at the JW Marriott. AAA Travel will be offering the best travel deals of the year. You don't even have to be a AAA member. You can meet all the top travel companies, Carnival, Disney, Royal Caribbean, and more. Best part, it's free. You don't even have to be a AAA member to attend. Whether you're looking to travel this year, next year, or beyond, save the date for the AAA Vacation Expo, Saturday, February 12th. At the JW Marriott downtown. Details at AAA.com/expo. You don't have to be stuck on the side of the road to get assistance from AAA. I'm a member of the AAA club. You can be a member of the AAA team. Are you or someone you know ready for a rewarding career helping people? The AAA Roadside Assistance Team is hiring now. No experience necessary. Head to AAA.com or apply today. AAA, heroes work here.
Are you between the ages of 45 and 63? If so, this is vital information for you. When it comes to retirement, timing is everything. Call Alan today at 317-814-6164 for a free, no-obligation Medicare assessment. Did you know a 65-year-old couple retiring in 2021 and planning to live until age 90 should expect to incur over $500,000 in Medicare premiums? Your health is your greatest asset, and the time to plan for it is today. Due to legislative changes, in order to collect your Social Security benefit, you must enroll for Medicare when eligible. Failing to do so means you will forfeit all current, future, and past benefits. Unfortunately, Medicare is not free, and many people are finding the costs are much larger than they planned for. Plan ahead for one of the largest expenses in retirement. Medicare premiums are expected to inflate over 6% through 2028. Call Alan Price from Thurston Springer today for a no-obligation Medicare assessment. Call today to see how they can help you get on the right path today at 317-814-6164.
Hubler is hiring. Learn, earn, and grow with Indiana's Auto Giant. Visit our open house on Saturday, January 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Hubler Chevrolet in South Indianapolis. Job opportunities are available in all departments, from sales to service, parts, detail, administration, and more. Interviews will be conducted on the spot. We provide on-the-job training at state-of-the-art facilities with quality insurance and 401k benefits, plus paid vacation. Start a career path to success with Hubler. Visit HublerCareers.com.
Battle these cold temps with hot deals from Payless Liquors. 750s of Fireball are only $13.99. Crown in the Purple Bag, $22.99. And Woodford Reserve, $33.99. And that's at all 26 family-owned Central Indiana Payless Liquor locations. Restock on beer for your next viewing party with Bud and Bud Light aluminum 15-packs. They're only $16.99. And don't forget about the COVID vaccination clinic this Saturday from 9 to 3 at the Southside Flea Market, right next to Payless Liquors' East Street location. No appointment needed. Payless Liquors is open 7 days a week, so don't pay more, get more, pay less at Payless Liquors.
As a Shane Company jewelry consultant, I get to work with couples looking for their dream engagement ring. Many feel overwhelmed. They just don't know where to start. And that's what I love about my job. I get to make this important experience fun and easy. We don't work on commission, so there's no pressure. When you visit, first, I'll want to know, what are your ideas for your dream ring? What fits your lifestyle, your personality, your budget? Then we'll go from there. We'll look at ring settings and I'll show you options for the center stone. For example, if you choose a classic solitaire ring setting, I can show you how it'll look with different center stones, like a pear-shaped diamond or an oval pink sapphire. We have all shapes, colors, and sizes. If you're going for a big look with lots of sparkle, I can show you our halo ring settings. Or, if you want a ring that's ready to go, we can look at our perfectly preset styles. Visit your friends. We're in this together.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Hey, Indy, want big winners in basketball and football? Catch me, Joe Wiz, host of The Fine Line, every Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. right here on The Fan. Brought to you by BetRivers.com, the sportsbook site for sports bettors. That's BetRivers.com.
Yes, Joe Wiz, one of the most powerful men in sports betting, is offering a free trial membership. Just follow Joe Wiz Sports on Twitter or Instagram.
to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
And a good Wednesday morning. Kevin and Query. Jake still feeling a little bit under the weather, so Brendan King is with us for a second straight day at B King Sports on Twitter. Brendan, you look at the free agency list for the Colts, in-house free agents, that is. There's like 7 or 8 starters on that list, which is, I think, a very notable number. I mean, you hear 7 to 8 starters for any team around the league, you probably think, 2 to 3 of those guys are must resign, stand on the table. We have got to bring this guy back. The vibe I get in looking at the list, there are definitely guys that I would bring back and, could certainly talk myself into bringing back. But I don't know if any of them are like stand on the table guys. I don't know, maybe would you classify Mo Alley Cox as you're standing on a table for him?
You know who I actually would stand on a table for? Is Zaire Franklin.
Okay.
That's not from a talent standpoint.
Yeah.
That's from a captaincy and set the tone standpoint, because he was always very polite at camp. When you're at training camp, you're not trying to make friends as members of the media, but of course you see these guys every day. So at some point, faces are going to recognize faces, and Zaire Franklin was terrific. So I would absolutely vouch for him. Name on there, Kev, to, I think Al-Qadim Muhammad is obvious, just considering he was part of your only pass rush ability this year.
He started every game, which probably is more of an indictment on your pass rush.
Exactly.
But when you hear Chris Bauer talk depth, Al-Qadim Muhammad has kind of been the forgotten guy, and he's always like, 97 for the Colts. I forgot that he's still out there.
Yeah, he's okay. Well, and if you didn't send Danico Autry packing, that would have been a nice little combo there between Autry and Muhammad. But actually, Taylor Stallworth, I would take a serious
D-line depth.
I would take a serious look. And look,
but again, are any of these names like...
No.
None of these names are like 3 years, 18 million, 20 million, like you are a cornerstone piece to us moving forward. It's not the Jack Doyle extension from a few years ago, the Kenny Moore extension from a few years ago. I know I'm forgetting some guys that Ballard has extended in-house. Here are the offensive names for free agents coming up this year for the Colts. Marlon Mack, T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, Mo Alley Cox, Sam Tevy, Eric Fisher, Mark Glowinski, Matt Pryor, Julian Davenport, and Chris Reed. When I read off that list, the first 3 names that I probably go with, Chris Reed, Mo Alley Cox, and Matt Pryor.
I'm with you.
As re-signs.
I'm with you. I mean...
Where you at on Fisher?
Boy,
that wasn't that first sound you made wasn't good.
I think both of us, Kev, from when we were at camp together, our expectations for Eric Fisher weren't Pro Bowl, but they were capable left tackle that is going to be a solution. I was going to say, too, off of the defensive line comment, with how obsessed, we talked about this yesterday, with how obsessed Chris Ballard is with the trenches, I wouldn't be surprised if all of them come back. You said quantity over quality, right?
Yeah. We'll get to D-line in just a second. Let's focus on Fisher here for a minute. This is above my pay grade, and it's why we're going to have a guy like Will Carroll on in less than an hour to talk with us about it. And Achilles injuries in the Colts have had issues. Achilles injuries are very difficult. I mean, I don't want to act
as
like
much
it's
as foot injuries.
Yeah, much as foot injuries for the Pacers, or I guess even
the Colts too. Yeah,
foot injuries for the Colts. Shout out to David Porter.
True, he earned his money this year, didn't he?
He definitely did. You're watching the Monday night playoff game, and what Cam Akers did 6 months removed from tearing his Achilles defies like every medical football logic out there. It was. You watch him run and you watch Marlon Mack run, and you're like, wow. And I get that Cam Akers is a little bit different talent than Marlon Mack, but what that just blew me away what Akers was doing. So with Fisher, I go back to what Chris Ballard said on Thursday last week. talked about Fisher and the pass protection, a little bit of an issue there, run blocking, probably better than average. But when you look at Fisher and you hear Ballard say, I think he's got a lot of good football left, that does matter. I mean, he is the decision maker, or one of the most important ones. So I think there's a chance Eric Fisher's your starting left tackle again next season. And then the question becomes this, Brendan. Is year 2 post Achilles? We haven't even hit year 1 with him yet.
Right.
He tore his Achilles in the AFC title game last season. So what does, 25 months, 26 months removed from the torn Achilles do for him? Because seemingly he was pretty good in the run game.
Right.
Was pretty poor in the pass game. Obviously, the pass game, there's more movement laterally. It's more unpredictability. You aren't kind of, you're dictating what you're doing a little bit more in the run game than you are in the pass protection game. Does he get to a level that is acceptable in a short-term answer? Because we've seen Ballard, and I would disagree with this by him, very hesitant to draft a left tackle. He hasn't done it, really.
Which is crazy.
Of any substance. It's absolutely crazy. But having said that, I don't think anyone's expecting a non-first-round pick left tackle to come in here and start from day one. So you're going to have to find some stopgap. Is it Matt Pryor, who's never really played left tackle or has played very little in his career? Or do you run it back with Fisher for another year and say, second year, post-Achilles, our information, NFL information says when you get to that, 2 years out, you do raise your level of play.
I wonder what Eric Fisher's year would have been like with Carson Wentz not as his quarterback. With the way that Wentz tries to keep plays alive, and it was well noted when he got here, Kevin, that Carson Wentz holds on to the ball a lot longer than most QBs in the league. I wonder if that came into play in the pass game of why Fisher struggled. When you hold on to the ball for longer periods of time, that's more time that the offensive line needs to block. I appreciate Ballard's willingness to always be up front and answer questions, but it's one thing to get defensive about your decisions and explain them, but the left tackle questions that he has asked are all warranted. As you just said, how many opportunities, and maybe I'm not saying you've passed on generational talents because we don't know, but how many opportunities have you had to solidify that position?
I think it's a great point. Okay, passed on opportunities of generational talent, sure. That's, a bit far-fetched, and it's difficult to do that. But passed on one of the most important positions in football, drafting a player that has traits that you like, and then trust your coaching staff. So much of this, and the Pacers have had issues with this recently. The Colts had issues with this in the Ryan Grigson, Chuck Pagano era. Hell, they've had issues with it now, talking about the pass rush. You draft a guy, and then we think that's the answer. Well, there's the other word of development that has to be there. So you've missed an opportunity to give your coaching staff a guy that has traits you desire. Can you mold? Can you develop? That is the other layer of it all. So, part of me, I'm not as anti-re-sign Fisher as I think some people are. Some people are I'm done with the dude. He was terrible.
I'm not there.
And I agree. He was poor last year, and the swing for the fences in that signing did not work out. Charles Leno, from a availability standpoint and a performance standpoint, would have been the much safer and better move for the Colts. But, it's also kind of a dilemma of just if he can take that 2-year Achilles jump that you see some guys do, then I think he maybe could be an answer. Not a long-term answer, but a short-term answer. The defensive free agents. You mentioned the D-line. There's a lot of names. There's a lot of offensive and defensive linemen that are free agents. Here are the defensive free agents here in 2022. Isaac Rochelle, Kamoko Toure, Al-Qadim Muhammad, Tyquan Lewis, Antoine Woods, Taylor Stallworth. So those are your defensive linemen. There's 6 of them there. Linebacker Matthew Adams, Zaire Franklin. In the secondary, Xavier Rhodes, TJ Carey, George Odom, Andrew Sendejo, and then Michael Badgley is a free agent there at kicker, of course. Who would you slot in the want to bring back category defensively?
I think I'm sticking with Franklin Stallworth to start. I mean, Al-Qadim Muhammad, again, by default, was your guy this year. He played well, but again, when you have Al-Qadim Muhammad, you need to rely on him when Kwity Paye is a rookie, fresh into things, and Dio Dangbo's not even playing. Again, how beneficial would it have been to have a Justin Houston or a Danico Autry? Of course, Autry stats, but even just have a disruptor like Houston to just give you some options on that pass rush and not throw Kwity in that situation. I mean, for Isaac Rochelle, we're both Notre Dame guys, but I think Isaac Rochelle's future as a TikTok star is better than his future as disrupting things in the pocket. I mean, he's all over TikTok.
Yeah,
but,
he is.
like, I mean, you wrote in this article, Kev, I think you were right on it, that he just didn't do a whole lot. And there was not a ton there.
Probably doesn't say a whole lot about Ben Banigou, the fact that Rochelle was taking snaps over. I'd probably...
What in the world is going... It's So, this was my first training camp, and it came to my attention very early on that I guess Ben Banigou had done what he did, where he shows out in camp and then nothing happens.
I always try to preface this when we talk about training camp. We have to talk about who these guys are doing it against.
Right.
You know, you can't just say, hey, Ben Banigou's the star of camp.
Will Holden, right?
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, these are names that are like, who?
I forgot about that guy.
Right.
Sam Tevye and Will Holden were the left tackles to start. That's sad.
And then, like, okay, here comes Julian Davenport. Well, that's a massive upgrade. So, like, you have to preface every time you talk in training camp about who they are doing it against. So they got something with Banigou. I'd bring back, I think, Tyquan Lewis. I know the injury situation has been not great for him, but I still think when healthy, there is potential of a Danico Autry type. That'd be more of a one-year sort of prove-it deal. George Odom, I think, is a bring-back guy as well. You know, I thought Odom actually gave you some really quality snaps defensively, and that was kind of always the question with him. We know he's a really good special teamer. But again, man, when you look at this list, I mean, I'm not standing on a table for any of those defensive guys. I get that Zaire Franklin is nice in the leadership category, but I mean, you know, a nice guy is only going to get you so far. He started 11 games for you this past year. He's a third linebacker. Like, you don't need to invest a ton there. And obviously, I would, honestly, of all the guys to stand on a table for, it's probably Badgley.
Look, I'm sure Rodrigo Blankenship's a nice guy, and it was cool to see him at the national championship get the ovation that he did in his building. Like, good for the kid, but it was nice to have the Colts go out for a field goal or something, or a kickoff, or not a kickoff, but a field goal or a PAT, and just have it be about kicking instead of the side story being talked about more than the actual kicking. I feel like we got to that point with Blankenship of his background and everything he has going on in his personal life. Good for him. But it was just nice to focus your attention on kicking with Badgley. There was never that outside talk. Yeah. He just did his job, and he did it well.
Xavier Rhodes, TJ Carey?
Would you bring Rhodes back?
I think I'm done.
Yeah.
Father Time.
It's catching up.
You know, he's been pretty healthy throughout his career, and TJ Carey both dealt with injuries this year. I thought they had really good 2020s, their first years here. Both were brought back on one-year deals again, and I thought both of them took a step back, availability and performance-wise.
I thought Rhodes in 2020 was spectacular, but I just feel like with him, it became there's always a knee or a calf or a hamstring, or there's always something that was going wrong, and
he's kind of a Lance Stevenson of like,
yes,
there's always a hurt, and then maybe you hear the crowd start to cheer, and oh, I'm back.
Yeah. Well, and
granted, they aren't cheering for Xavier Rhodes like they cheer for Lance, but
no, not a 20-point first
Ballard's
quarter.
mentioned corner as a position to upgrade as well.
I think you're going to have to, Kev. I mean,
but you know, a trio of Kenny Moore, Rocky Sin, Isaiah Rodgers, I think is a nice base. But at that spot, you know, cornerback, we just talked about the receivers left in the NFL playoffs yesterday. It's obviously a list there, but curious your guys' thoughts on this. Offensively, defensively, any names that stand out as free agents to bring back for the Colts? Around, I think it's like $43 million, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there in free agency cap space. Obviously, when you look at the starters on this list, again, none of them to me qualify in these are the top 10, top 15 most important players on your roster sort of thing. We did get a Matt Eberflus question from Gary. Could the Jags be thinking that since one Frank Reich assistant, Nick Sirianni, is having success with leading Philly to the playoffs, that another might have success for them? Plus, Eberflus knows the AFC South very well.
I don't know how Nick Sirianni finagled his way into the playoffs. He basically benched Miles Sanders. And in very interesting fashion, like somehow Jalen Hurts crawled his way to the playoffs when Sirianni is like benching these Philadelphia stars. And it might be because of the division they play in. But I was amazed that he got to the playoffs. I don't know about you.
No, I was as well. I am not. I get where Gary's coming from this. But again, and it's just the reality of a defensive coach right now. Nick Sirianni and the Jalen Hurts relationship, getting that offense back on track, and now they can kind of stabilize things for Hurts moving forward. I think that's a huge element in that hire. And Eberflus just unfortunately won't have that, given his side of the ball. And I agree wholeheartedly with John's comment. It feels like every season it takes about 6 games for the Colts players to execute Eberflus's defense.
Right.
It's like you're getting off these poor starts. You have the poor fourth quarters. We saw some adjustment late season from him this year, a little bit more man-to-man. But why has it taken 4 years to get to the point where the completion percentage has finally reached a level where it's too high? Like, that Jets game seemed to be the final straw of, like, here is the ultimate wake-up call. Why did it take the midway point of year 4 to get there?
Mm-hmm.
That is probably one of my system scheme Eberflus issues.
Well, here's the thing. If Eberflus actually goes to the Jaguars and you have to play him twice a year, at least the Colts know what they got to do offensively. Bootlegs and tight ends.
Exactly.
Bootlegs and tight ends,
right,
Kev.
Right. And you're guaranteed to score, 14 or 17 in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, for sure.
And the pass rush will be non-existent
right.
as well. And, I know that the Colts have forced a lot of turnovers with Eberflus. I think the zone scheme does help you in that area, but I've always felt like how much of that is just the Darius Leonard presence of pushing you from a 10 to 15 takeaway team to a top 5 sort of takeaway team. I mean, Leonard, how much of that is just individual, I'm punching the football out?
Yeah, I'm sure Darius Leonard is well informed by his coaching staff every week. It was shown on Hard Knocks of like what they guys specifically to go at, right? With the punch, but
no one else is punching like Leonard.
But at the end of the day, it comes down to execution.
Right.
I mean, Phil Jackson wasn't, dropping triple doubles in the NBA Finals. It was Michael.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Interesting quarterback poll I saw yesterday on just kind of what fans want option-wise. I know a lot of people want us to talk about Kurt Warner. We're actually going to hopefully have Warner on Friday's show. He's had a film breakdown of Carson Wentz, so we might hit on that a little bit later. And the Myles Turner injury situation. That's the big Pacers news in the last 24 hours. But also I think something to hit on is just the organizational issues. We know Pacers-related is a little bit deeper, though, with Herb Simon and what he's running over there on Delaware Street. That's something to touch on here when we come back. Will Carroll in a half hour to talk about the Turner injury and Eric Fisher. I'm Kevin Bowen, Brendan King filling in today for Jake Query on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
That was the most embarrassing and worst loss in the history of the Indianapolis Colts. That was complete and utter foobar. That's what that was. Coach Yost, remember the Titans, leave no doubt. You know what they accomplished yesterday besides just flat embarrassing themselves, which is exactly what they did. They left out on the future direction of this team.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Come rain or shine, high winds or mild breezes, blue skies or gray, it's a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Home values have skyrocketed.
And Golden Oak Lending can save you money with their low 1.875% rate.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With our low rates and your increased equity, you can make home improvements or pay off debt.
Woo-hoo! Plus, skip your next 2 mortgage payments. Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937. 1.875% fixed. 2.952% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Did you know Amazon provides ways of working that fit your lifestyle? They know you value your time outside of work, juggling family, school, friends, or other activities. That's why they offer a variety of shifts that work for you. There are full-time, part-time, and even temporary opportunities that can work with your schedule, with great starting pay and sign-on bonuses. If you want a career that fits and adapts to your lifestyle, head to Amazon.com/apply. Amazon is a proud equal opportunity employer.
Battle these cold temps with hot deals from Payless Liquors. 750s of Fireball are only $13.99. Crown in the Purple Bag $22.99. And Woodford Reserve $33.99. And that's at all 26 family-owned Central Indiana Payless Liquor locations. Restock on beer for your next viewing party with Bud and Bud Light aluminum 15-packs. They're only $16.99. And don't forget about the COVID vaccination clinic this Saturday from 9 to 3 at the Southside Flea Market, right next to Payless Liquors East Street location. No appointment needed. Payless Liquors is open 7 days a week, so don't pay more, get more, pay less at Payless Liquors.
If you're saving and investing for tomorrow, inflation is a risk you can't ignore. Because as we're living longer, your money may have to stretch further than ever. Join us Tuesday, January 25th at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern for a brand new virtual event, 10 Ways to Help Protect Your Wealth from Inflation. Register for free at EdelmanFinancialEngines.com. Don't let rising prices lower the quality of your retirement or impact your lifestyle today. At our new virtual event, 10 Ways to Help Protect Your Wealth from Inflation, you'll see how stocks, bonds, and other investments may help you outpace inflation and explore what inflation could mean for your Social Security benefits. Our advice is based on 35 years of wealth management experience. Please join us for our special virtual event, 10 Ways to Help Protect Your Wealth from Inflation, on Tuesday, January 25th at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern. Register for free at EdelmanFinancialEngines.com. That's EdelmanFinancialEngines.com. Edelman Financial Engines. From here forward.
Hey, we're on to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is celebrating with a huge odds boost for new customers. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, you can get 56-1 odds on any team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Hey, you're not a new customer? You can still get in on the action with the divisional round same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. More legs you add, the more money you win. It's safe, secure, and reliable, DraftKings is. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Promo code 1075FAN. Get 56-1 odds on any NFL team. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code 1075FAN for 56-1 odds at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You got to be 21 or older. Indiana only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? 800-9-WITH-IT.
They've rocked over 35 million fans around the world.
It's my
Bon Jovi, the 2022 tour. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, April 19th. Get tickets Friday, January 21st to 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Bon Jovi, all their anthems for one incredible night. Presented by Hampton Water. For more, check BonJovi.com.
Indy's #1 for new country is 97.1 Hank FM.
Maybe some things last forever after all.
Starting your day with 97 minutes of commercial-free new country every weekday morning at 8:30 with Joey and Mindy. More new country and fewer commercials means more of this.
Hey, it's Luke Combs.
This is Carrie Underwood.
Hey, y'all, it's Luke Bryan.
Indy's #1 for new country is
97.1 Hank FM.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday between Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Out of the bullpen, our John Rocker, Carlos Marmol, Brendan King.
That means I'm giving up a grand slam to tie it, and then the Cubs will walk off in the 10th. There's too much of that.
I'm trying to think of a great setup, man. I feel like nowadays the bullpen is used for
Jabba Chamberlain. I'm not your closer?
Jabba Chamberlain, what a name.
Skip, I'm not your closer?
No. Well, some days nowadays we might need 6 outs out of you.
Yeah.
We
6 out saves are my specialty.
We needed 5 outs yesterday, and we've called you back out in the middle of the 8th.
Yeah, Coach,
today.
my arm hurts.
Yeah.
Kevin Gregg.
Oh, no.
Is that Rex Specs? Who?
Yeah. Eric, remember Eric Gagne with the specs and the soul patch?
I'm picturing the Giants guy, Brian Wilson.
Yeah, he did the...
I mean, you talk about a beard that just had nature and habitat.
So
I mean, just life.
He at one
in
point
there.
braided it.
I feel like there were just eggs hatching in there.
Yes.
He could bring it. I love clothes. I love bullpen people.
Oh, I love pitchers. Pitchers are my favorite athletes. They're the craziest people, but they're so nice.
At B King Sports on Twitter, Brendan King is with us. Jake's still feeling a little bit under the weather. Thank you for tuning in to Kevin and Query here on 93.5, 107.5. The Fan. A lot of discussion about the Myles Turner injury news from yesterday. Just an absolute gut punch, I think, to the Pacers and trying to achieve, the best start to the retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call it, as possible. We'll have Will Carroll on in about 25 minutes to talk more about the stress reaction in Turner's foot and what exactly that could mean to his trade value. Alex Golden does a great job of setting the pace. That podcast, and I believe is writing for 8 points in 9 seconds as well. He messaged me this, Brendan. Most interesting thing about the Turner stuff is that Woj and Scott Agnes both said that Myles hoped he'd be moved by the deadline. Bob Kravitz said as well. So he thinks that someone will talk their sleeves into Myles where the Pacers feel they can get a fair return. He says gut feeling is like a Mason Plumlee and P.J. Washington with a protected first for Myles, or Nerlens Noel, Emmanuel Quickley, and a first from New York.
That Emmanuel Quickley is enticing. I like him.
I do like him. God, man, selfishly, I just want a little bit more.
I do too. I just don't know where that's going to come from.
The Knicks making the playoffs?
Yes, in my opinion. R.J. Barrett has been on a heater.
That's out of the lottery then.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Maybe they have multiple first.
I just think it would kind of you would kind of be hurting yourself, right? If you want to get away from two bigs. If you're keeping Sabonis, why would you trade for another big?
I'd assume Noel is some sort of salary dump or something.
Or even P.J. Washington. I mean, I like P.J. Washington.
A 4, though. I think P.J. Washington and Sabonis could play together.
That'd be interesting.
But I don't know. I mean, Plumlee, it's like, you just... I don't think you can have a Plumlee wearing a Pacers uniform ever again. I think we're there. I don't know if they've got any... Perky Plumlee, I don't know if he has grandchildren. I think Perky's the father. I don't know if anyone... No more Plumlees in a Pacers uniform. Seen enough.
Is that on your 10 Commandments?
I honestly think it needs... Once beautiful building over there.
Bacon crispy. No Plumlees and Pacers jerseys.
Exactly. A lot of renovations to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and on the wall, the 10 Commandments, one of them is no more Plumlees rocking.
Yes.
The blue and gold. But just hearing those trade offers, Brendan, that's why it's a gut punch. Because now, the desperate teams that would have done some rather foolish things, potentially, to trade for Myles Turner, they now have a big reason to be scared, hesitant, second thoughts about it. And that's why this is such... It doesn't sound like it's a devastating injury by any means, but it is a big man with a foot injury. And now all of a sudden it takes that potential for the top, steal a Frank Reich analogy, the peak of the mountain type of return to we're still trying to climb that summit.
Don't you run the risk now, too, that if you get behind the market... Because the trade market is always set by the first deal that's done, right? If the first deal done is a blockbuster, teams are going to see that and be like, oh, bleep. We got to do something right now, and they're going to overpay. If the first deal of trade season ends up being like a steal or very minor, then the trade market kind of follows that path, right? So would it benefit the Pacers to set the market or to wait?
It's interesting that you bring that up. So, okay, let's say, for example, trading Myles Turner last week would have gotten you A type of value.
Yeah.
And now this injury news drops it to B value. If you wait till the offseason, where he is seemingly fully healthy, and you then trade him with just 1 year left on the deal, what letter is that value?
C+?
I think it continues to get lower, and that's my worry there. Of yes, the health would improve, but look at the trades you see in Major League Baseball at the trade deadline.
Nuts.
And what teams are willing to give up for 1 month rentals, 2 month rentals. Like, Turner isn't a rental, but he would obviously, the hope is he would help a contending team right now get you over whatever hump that is. So, man, I hate that the Pacers waited this long to part ways with him, because I think the writing was on the wall for at least several months. I thought in the offseason is when you should have made a move. I thought the Carlisle hire was, all right, don't run it back with his personnel. Don't continue to give him the same ingredients you gave Bjorkgren or even McMillan to a degree. I don't know. I don't know if you want to set the mark. I don't know if that's as big of a deal as just, it just sucks you waited this long. And Turner, missed 25 games last year. Now it's going to be in the 20-ish range again this year. Again, that's going to cause some red flags for teams out there.
Here's one more hurdle for you, though. I guess we've kind of gotten the answer of, this was something we asked when we did the show together for a few months, Kevin, is that if Rick Carlisle can't make Sabonis and Turner work together, then it's done. Right?
Right. And my issue is it shouldn't have gotten to Carlisle.
No, I same case. But
and it's not as much as Myles and Domas don't work together. It's that when you've invested as much as you have in them, it takes resources away from improving a guard position or a wing position, and that's what wins in the NBA. You got $40 million in Turner and Sabonis night in, night out, and they both aren't on the floor to finish games. That could help you out with guards and wings in what really wins in today's NBA. Alex Golden again chimes in and goes, the Pacers waited too long to deal Myles, and this is why they're going to pay for it.
They are. No. A. Golden does a terrific job. But here's the last thing, Kevin. Is Herb ready to sign off? Because he's got to give his blessing, right?
Okay, call me crazy on this, please, if you think that it's crazy, all right?
Yeah.
We had Bob Kravitz on yesterday. For those that missed it, check it out on the podcast, Kevin and Query. I thought Bob and I both on the same page, and just shake of head when Herb Simon spoke a few weeks ago. So delusional, so out of touch with so many things in the organization, not just one area, so many aspects. Bally Sports related, regional sports network, thinking that his organization can attract star free agents. I'm not even talking about the team, right. I like my little team. We got a hell of a team. Whatever those comments were. I'm sitting there yesterday and I get an email that the Indiana Fever have released, I'm not even going to try and pronounce her name. I know she's a very popular player. Have released the 4th overall pick from last year. Can you imagine? Mark, will you look up who the 4th overall pick was this year? I think it was Scotty Barnes, maybe? Jalen Suggs.
Barnes, yeah.
You imagine the Raptors releasing Scotty Barnes coming up this summer. This is 1 year after they released Lauren Cox, who was the 3rd overall pick from 2020. Can you imagine an organization in professional sports that has released 2 top 5 picks in consecutive years that are year 2 and year 1 into their respective professional careers? Like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, wow, that is like the wildest thing I've ever heard in professional sports when you talk about roster building and all of that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, is this more organizationally over there? Like, is this deeper than just, is Herb just even out of touch with, like, what's going on with the feet? And obviously, Tamika Catchings, an incredible basketball career. But, man, what is it? The 3rd overall pick and the 4th overall pick?
What kind of talent evaluation are you doing if you're getting rid of these girls less than a year afterwards?
Like, exactly. I'm like, what in the...
I mean, if that happened in the NBA, if that happened here, Pacers just released Chris Duarte, right?
But even bigger than that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we're talking Mark, will you look up who the 4th overall pick was 2 years ago and the 3rd overall pick, or I guess 3rd overall pick 2 years ago, 4th overall pick this past year?
All right, yeah. So if the Raptors release Scotty Barnes, I mean, there's pitchforks and there's fire sticks coming out in Toronto.
Well,
The 2020 3rd overall pick was LaMelo Ball.
So LaMelo Ball and Scotty
Barnes.
Yeah.
LaMelo Ball won Rookie of the Year, right, last year? Mm-hmm. And I think Scotty Barnes is the favorite right now.
He had a dunk, it might have been last night or 2 days ago, that defined physics. Scotty Barnes. He's really good.
Yeah, I know, and I'm surprised he's been this good. I would have taken Suggs over him. I know they're different positions and whatnot. But I guess, again, what I'm getting at here is like, people are probably like, why are you talking about the Indiana Fever for 3 or 4 minutes right now? Is this organizational, though? Of under Herb's watch, these two organizations are, where you're at. Like, the Pacers have their issues, but the Fever in a major rebuild, a serious rebuild, with 2 top 5 picks. And again, I'm not going to pretend to know much, but, in talking to people that are a little bit more in touch with this, they were like, when they drafted the woman who they took 3rd, 4th overall this past year, like, as soon as the pick was made, it was like, that was like when the Raiders took Shaq Lawson 4th overall. Like, it was, what in the world? No one had, in the WNBA mock drafts that are out there, no one had her.
You found WNBA mock drafts?
Again, I had to talk with some people to get a little bit of background info on this. But I don't know. Is that crazy? Am I crazy to say
no?
The fact that the Pacers are trending in this direction, the Fever are clearly here, at some point, where is the ownership and the accountability at the top of the organization incredibly lacking?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird because I remember listening to Colin Cowherd after Carlisle came back, and Cowherd was like praising Herb Simon as one of the best owners in the league, which, as a person he might be. But the last 2, 3, 4 months here, I think it's easy for people here to realize the travesty that's happening. But nationally, I don't think as many people are seeing it. Just like maybe with the Eberflus situation, he's a head coaching candidate nationally. People are like, man, that Colts defense is disruptive, Darius Leonard. When here we're like, Eberflus has a ton of talent and he's reaping the benefits of on defense.
Yeah, I do think that's a fair point. Obviously, we're more ingrained into it, locked into it, so we obviously have a better, idea of it. But I don't know. When I saw that yesterday, I just thought that, boy, you talk about.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Eyebrow raiser. All right, let's get to I Gotta Know with Mark Dykton right now.
He's got questions. How about a game? They've got answers.
Hey, I'm more of a cornhole man myself.
Sports, music, movies.
What?
High fashion.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
And everything in between.
You ever seen a foot with 4 toes?
It's time to get a glimpse into the mind of Mark Dykton.
Stop it, you're scaring me.
It's time for I Gotta Know on Kevin and Query.
Okay, you 2 punks, I want a good, clean fight. Let's get it on.
All right, boys.
That's still my favorite intro of all time. It's so
I know.
Good.
Put a smile on my face that you get so much enjoyment out of it.
He does. I love it.
The David Spade might be the funniest thing.
Oh, no. That's
not David Spade?
No, that's Dana Carvey from Wayne's World.
Oh, okay, that sounds like David Spade.
Wayne? Okay, anyway. So what would be worse? Okay, I'm about to bring you down a sad rabbit hole.
Oh, boy.
What would be worse? The Colts running it back with Carson Wentz and still not spending in free agency.
Ugh.
Or the Pacers continue the season they're on, they hang on to Myles Turner, and after all that, they still don't get a top 10 pick.
Oh, jeez. Pacers.
What would be worse?
That's terrible.
Pacers.
I can see that happening, though.
I know. I'm like waiting for Duarte to lead them on an 8 of 10 run to end the season, and they're, here we are.
This is
12th
the
overall pick.
state of Indiana sports that we're in right now.
It's the stat, and my in-laws were throwing it around yesterday. They hadn't, and I think casual sports fans probably don't realize the Pacers have had one, or is it none? No picks from 1 to 9 since 1989. I saw that stat making the rounds.
Yeah.
Yesterday, they traded for Jonathan Bender, but I've called the Colts season a failure because you didn't make the playoffs, you didn't get an answer on Carson Wentz, and you don't have a first-round pick. The Pacers cannot afford. How much drafting matters, how far away they are. Yes, disaster. Oh, God, I got the heebie-jeebies thinking about that, Mark.
That makes the hair on the back of my neck stick up. I mean, jeez. That would be terrible. Truly terrible. So who is you would know this more than me. Who would you peg as the best Pacers first-round pick in that span? I mean, is it Tyler Hansbrough?
Oh, no, Paul George.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
I mean, when Reggie was what, 80?
Who would be second? Tyler Hansbrough?
No, you probably throw Granger in there.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't hit on a ton, but, Paul was monumental in that. So,
yeah.
Gosh, Mark.
That's terrible.
All right, after that kick in the privates, should the Pacers trade Myles Turner by the deadline or just take the best offer regardless of what it is?
BK, it's kind of similar to what you were asking, man. I'm so torn on this. When you hear the trades that Alex Golden just kind of threw out to us, it's like, is that it? Is that where you're at? And I don't know. If you wait until the summer, could you get more than you can get right now? I'm not. Will the medical reassurance be more than the expiring contract debate?
I mean, if we get to the summer, he's going to be tweeting a lot worse stuff than this ain't P. I don't know. The body language and just kind of eyeing on him when I'm at games, I just focus in on, like, this dude's presentability. And it's just not there. I wasn't on the trade Myles train a month and a half ago. I'm fully there. I think you just got to cut the cancer, man.
He's got to rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, you just got to do
No,
it.
but is that, again, that's probably not the right, thinking.
Right.
Organizationally, but I'm with you guys because I just think I want to get the rebuild started.
Even though defensively they're going to be brutal.
Oh yeah, trust me. Myles is going to be a loss on the floor, but the hope is you improve guard, wing wise, and Tyler Hansbrough played in high school at Hinkle.
Really?
Greg Oden. I think it was Oden.
Well, that's a hell of a matchup.
Yeah, Poplar Bluff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I missed high school games at Hinkle.
So Turner likely out through the deadline. Who's going to fetch the most on the trade market for the Pacers? Do you listen to offers for Sabonis? Are you willing to pull the trigger on that? Because I feel that nobody on this roster is untouchable.
See, I'm with you, Mark. And that would kind of be one of my thoughts, just like as a GM or president. No one is ever untouchable. I will listen to it because you want to listen to everything because I want intel on who you think is good for me, or I just kind of want league intel. So I'd always play that card. By the way, Gary says best pick Kawhi Leonard. Ugh. Gary.
Yikes.
You talk about another kick in the you-know-what there.
Yeah.
I don't think Sabonis is untouchable. I don't think Duarte is untouchable.
Really?
But it would have to take, a monumental package.
Right.
To get either of them.
Well, I'm taking the first offer that somebody comes to the table with for Jeremy Lamb. I don't think he fits on this team in any way, shape, or form. And if the Cavaliers want Karis LeVert and they send you a nice little package, maybe a little Lauri Markkanen action, and a first-round pick.
See, I'm more on the kind of Colin Sexton.
You think they give up Sexton?
If they're all in on Garland and don't feel like two guards can go. I don't know, Mark. But to answer your question, Mark, no. Sabonis is the closest thing to untouchable. Him and Duarte, but I would still listen.
Oh yeah. I would absolutely listen. It's National Popcorn Day. Where does popcorn rank on your snack power rankings?
Ooh. What kind of, just regular popcorn?
Whatever you want. You can get the gourmet caramel and cheddar. You can do movie theater popcorn, whatever you want.
So this actually, quick story. This will tell you about my life.
Quick story about popcorn?
No, yes. So I got back from doing Indiana Sports Talk to the Delt House at 12:30 a.m. on Saturday. There's a raccoon that lives in the Delta dumpster. And it was snacking on a
house.
No, it was snacking on a full bag of popcorn. It was
this burnt popcorn? Did someone throw it out?
Yeah.
Somebody work at AMC or something?
Yeah, no, it was a full bag of popcorn and somebody just threw it out. But my vision of getting back to the house at 12:30 in the morning was this raccoon with its little hands just piling popcorn in its mouth. Anyway.
I'd probably have it as a top 6 snack.
Top 6?
Yeah.
What's ranking above that?
I mean, I am obsessed
Of all snacks?
with Doritos. Like, I have
Okay.
an issue with Doritos. So I'm probably going for a quick chip fix. Just an easy little cheese and crackers where I'm thinking, it's not like the most unhealthy thing. Popcorn just takes a little bit of time.
Well, not if you just buy the bag. So you're saying you must pop the popcorn. If you're
Yeah,
gonna do it.
and I'm just. How long's the commercial break between the media timeout and whatever? But I mean, no, still, I'm putting it very high.
I'm all aboard. I'm tortilla chips are my weakness.
Brendan, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry.
I was
go
saying,
ahead.
you might be too young to remember this. Kevin, do you remember back in the 90s? It was Pop's Secret Popcorn. It was like colored popcorn.
yeah.
It'd be like bright blue and green and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, not about that.
Garrett's Popcorn, Chicago staple.
Garrett's Popcorn is solid.
What's the popcorn at Midway Airport? You know what I'm talking about?
No. I know what you're talking about. I don't recall.
I don't know the name.
That
There's really good fresh popcorn made at Midway Airport.
Matthew, who's so generous to send us that main care package, had that popcorn. Terrific.
My daughter's busted into the maple syrup over the weekend.
Yeah.
Loved it.
We did a lot of the jam action.
Thank you, Matthew.
That is Mark Dykton with I Gotta Know. Let's hit a quick Big O Tire Sports Center update before Will Carroll joins us here in a few minutes.
The SportsCenter update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
College basketball last night locally. Butler gets pummeled by UConn 76-59. The David Wood stat from the Indy Star that he tweets out seemingly every game. Down by at least 10 points in 30 of their last 42 games. Like, think about how many just, like, joke non-conference games are in there where you just, like, don't get down 10 points,
It's not good, Kev.
30% from the field, 31% from three last night.
And guess who they see on Thursday?
Rematch with UConn over
That's like getting
at
punched in
Hinkle.
the face and then turned around and then a copy of who just punched you in the face is about to do it again.
I know Jake tweeted out last night, IUPUI's jerseys looked really cool as they played Ohio State.
Oh, that's right.
The final score was...
You know what the line on that game was?
Was it at 30?
33.5.
And they won. Oh, Ohio State covered, right?
Did they? I didn't see.
I don't know the final score, but I thought at one point late in the game it was like 40.
Let's find out.
Pacers tonight, 15-29 on the road at the Lakers.
God.
What was it, 40?
83-37.
Again, their only win is over the brand Spalding.
Over-under guess here. Over-under second half points for IUPUI.
I was going to say, I looked up the score in the first half, and it was like somewhat in striking distance.
11.
14.
13 points.
I win.
You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
If you're looking for a line tonight, the Lakers favored by 4.5 over the Pacers, over under 222.5. Sounds like LeBron will play. He went off in that November matchup here. Sherper, remember he got the fans ejected.
We ever determine what actually happened with that?
No, a lot of different stories there. But it's entertaining if you want to scroll through a Facebook feed on that. Anthony Davis did not play in that matchup. He is out again for tonight. And after tonight, the Pacers have the Warriors on a back-to-back tomorrow night. I believe that's a TNT game, if I'm not mistaken. The Suns on Saturday, and then the Pelicans on Monday to round out their final Western road trip of the year. We'll get more into the divisional round matchups with Sal Palantonio a little bit later. He's going to join us at 9 o'clock. We'll talk about that. That Packers-49ers line is climbing a little bit. I think we all were surprised by the initial. I think it was 4.5 when it first opened. I believe it's hovering around a touchdown right now. So talk to Sal Pal about that a little bit later. But when we come back here on Kevin and Query, Brendan King filling in today for Jake. Will Carroll is going to join us, the injury expert. I want to talk Myles Turner, this injury news, what it could mean for him, and teams a little hesitant to give up the trade package they thought they might for Myles. And then Eric Fisher. We talked about the Colts left tackle earlier. Year 2 removed from the Achilles. What does that mean for his free agency outlook here in Indianapolis as the Colts continue to have a need at left tackle? We'll talk about that next with Will Carroll. You're listening right here on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
SportsCenter updates on The Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save $100 instantly on select sets of 4 tires from Hankook, Toyo, Continental, Nitto, General, Pirelli, Goodyear, and Nexen. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. You know the old saying, new year, new mortgage, and that's never rang more true than now. With mortgage interest rates sitting near all-time historic lows and home values skyrocketing, there's never been a better time to be looking at a refinance. We can lower your interest rate and save you a couple $100 a month, and maybe even pull out some cash to pay off those credit cards and make those home remodel projects a reality. Apply online today at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
All right, the NFL playoffs are in full gear, and everyone can now get in on the action with a risk-free bet thanks to FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook or already have an account. All customers get up to $10 back if your same-game parlay doesn't hit. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. Same-game parlays let you combine multiple bets from one matchup for a big payout. You can combine multiple bets on the money line, point spread, player stats, and so much more. I love the player-specific props. Here's one for you for the 49ers-Packers game this weekend. Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, and Elijah Mitchell as anytime touchdown scorers, and over 9.5 first-quarter points. Your $10 risk-free bet would pay out over $132 if that one hits. Use that one, make up your own, whatever you want. It's there for you right away. So check out FanDuel Sportsbook. They are America's #1 sportsbook because the app is safe, secure, and easy to use. They always have everyday promotions and odds boosts. They get lightning fast payouts in as little as 24 hours, and they're a legitimate official sports betting partner of the NFL. If you already have an account, just place your first bet risk-free, and you'll get your same-game parlay bet on any divisional round game to qualify. If you're a new customer, join today with promo code MARK to get your first bet risk-free, and also enjoy 30-1 odds on any team in the divisional round to win after using promo code MARK. Turn $5 into $150. That's promo code MARK, M-A-R-C, exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, it's JMV. Did you know the lack of sleep from snoring can lead to other health issues for both the snorer and the snorer's partner? My friends at Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic can help you. Meet the friendly, helpful, and knowledgeable staff and work with Dr. Steve Green. Yeah, you know, Steve Green from IU basketball fame, the co-founder and clinical director who wants to get everyone a better night's sleep. A better night's sleep is just an appointment away. It helped me. It can help you. StopYourSnoreNow.com or 317-482-7900 today.
It's hard to believe that in 1972, fewer than 300,000 girls played high school sports in the U.S.
It's true. Today, more than 3 million girls play high school sports, and it's all thanks to Title IX.
When Title IX passed 50 years ago, it created a level playing field for women and girls in high school athletic programs. I'm Sandra Walter, a proud Brookfield Greyhound.
And I'm Carrie Rosati, a proud Roncalli Royal. We're both assistant commissioners of the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
We're also former athletic directors, so we understand the impact that high school sports have on the lives of teenage girls.
And how Title IX has paved the way for generations of female student athletes across the country, including right here in Indiana.
Playing high school sports opens doors for girls on the playing field and beyond.
We're both living proof that when girls are given the chance to play, they're given the chance to thrive.
This is empowerment. This is opportunity. This is your IHSAA.
Dan Dakich lays some knowledge.
Chris Ballard's just talking. We won't make excuses why we got our ass beat in Jacksonville. That's what happened. We got our ass beat. We're a 9-8 team. That falls on me. That's what Ballard's saying. Watch all these guys praise Ballard for being up front. There are winners, there are losers, and there are survivors. And Chris Ballard is a survivor.
Dan Dakich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
When we get into the medical questions, Will Carroll, the injury expert, is our go-to guy with that, far above our pay grade. Kevin Bowen and Brendan King today, by the way, on Kevin and Query. Jake Query feeling a little bit under the weather still. So Brendan filling in. Will, I want to start with Myles Turner. Stress reaction. Anytime I hear foot injury for a big guy, I start to sweat. Can you give us some insight on the stress reaction for a big guy and what that means?
Yeah, let's start with what a stress reaction is. Everybody understands a broken bone mostly. Little Timmy down the street fell off his skateboard, broke his arm. They took an X-ray, saw it was snapped in half. That's a broken bone. Well, stress fracture is when it's not a force like falling off your skateboard. It's the force of what you've been doing over and over has caused too much pressure on a bone, and so it breaks from that stress. A stress reaction is kind of like it hasn't broken yet, but you can see on the X-ray, on the CT scan, whatever they used, that something's about to happen. It's kind of like when you don't quite have a blister on your foot, but you can see a spot where it's starting to come. So essentially, they caught this early, and the bone hasn't broken. So hopefully they can figure out what it is that's causing that stress. The thing we don't know is which bone is under stress, and this is really key to understanding both Myles Turner and any big man, because you do need to sweat when you hear foot injuries and big men. You start thinking about Bill Walton and Yao Ming. If it's in the midfoot, that's really problematic. If it's on the outside, kind of like a Jones fracture, like what we've seen with Derrick Henry, then it's not quite as worrisome. I mean, it's not good, but it's not quite as worrisome. And Jeff Stotts, who does great work in basketball, he's in street clothes on Twitter. He says that guys with this similar type of injury usually miss about 20 games, which puts that well into February, almost March for Turner.
Okay, well, if you were, and again, Will Carroll, the injury expert on Twitter, is with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. If you were the GM of the Knicks and you had, what you thought was an A-level trade to send to the Pacers, what information would you need, Turner foot-related, or would this news, I guess, all of a sudden put up a red flag and have you say, hey, I either need all the medical info, and I don't even know if that's possible, I don't really know how that works, or would you say, guys, we can't do it, or here's the B or C trade?
Yeah, that's the thing, is, he's had this issue before. He's had foot problems last year. He had them a little bit in college. So I would want to know, is this related? Is this a recurring problem? Or is this a problem where, we know what was going on, that, maybe he had a pair of shoes that were less cushiony. Maybe he was doing more work on something that created it. I mean, there are only a few things that it could possibly be. Basketball players, they have to run, they have to jump, they have to stop. It's one of those. So what is it? Is there tracking data that they have? So it's really on the Pacers to convince anybody else coming in that he's worth what they need. The last thing they need to do is sell him for a 70% sale markup just because he's currently injured. If I'm looking at it, and yes, they can share all the medical information. They push a button since it's all electronic now rather than having to copy a big, thick file. I would want to know how they've been treating this. Is this something that's been going on and finally they got to a real diagnosis? I would certainly want to know exactly which bone it was and whether he had this problem previously.
Hey, Will, it's Brendan. Obviously love the passion you have for talking about this, but I have to imagine in terms of Indy foot injuries, you're pretty tired of talking about that.
Yeah, we certainly had our run of them here. Gotten my course in podiatry, I guess. So it is one of those issues, and certainly when you've had Indianapolis this year with foot and leg injuries, at least we can't blame this one on the Lucas Oil turf.
Will, could you remind us again on TJ Warren? If I remember correctly, we're now a year plus into this. There was like a blood flow related issue that was maybe kind of complicating things, because again, we are now a year plus on TJ Warren, who is a free agent coming up on him, seemingly weeks, months still. I can't tell you how many times they said, we'll reevaluate in a couple of weeks. It seems like we're still in that camp.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of healing. This is a situation a lot of people always say, just go get the surgery. Well, sometimes just going and getting the surgery doesn't help. For a midfoot fracture like this, if it doesn't heal up well, then there's not a whole lot you can do. It just hasn't healed up, and we've tried everything. It used to be if you broke a bone, they would give you a bone stimulator. Turns out it didn't really work that much and was expensive. They've tried drugs, kind of the osteoporosis drugs, to see if they could push things forward. Doesn't really matter. Bones do heal, but they tend to heal on their own schedule. And for something like this, a midfoot fracture, then you're certainly looking at the blood flow being an issue. When it was first discovered back in the Napoleonic Wars, the doctor, we've all probably heard the term Lisfranc. It was actually a doctor in the Napoleonic Wars, and he discovered that when guys were getting knocked off their horses and catching their foot in the stirrup, they would have a particular type of foot fracture. The issue was back then that his cure was amputation, so at least we've gone beyond that.
Hey, well, going to the Colts, we were talking earlier, Kevin and I, about Eric Fisher and the possibility of him coming back for year 2. And what Kevin brought up, which is crazy, is that it still has not been a year since the Achilles injury for Fisher. He found his way back. So heading into year 2, potentially for Fisher, where will he be in that rehab and that recovery process, fully coming back from the Achilles?
Finished. Look, this is not like it's going to get better. If you didn't see Cam Akers the other night, this is what we should get used to. This is now a 6-month injury. The change in surgery, the change in rehab, and the hard work that Akers and I'm sure Fisher put in is making this now a 6-month injury. We're used to it being a 12-month injury, an 18-month injury. If you go back not that far, an Achilles injury was a career alterer, if not a career ender. Now it's barely a speed bump because medical science has gotten that much better. So the idea that another 6 months is going to help Eric Fisher, I just don't see it. He's fighting the clock, and unfortunately, skills diminish. I'm sure he's working hard and doing everything he can if he does, if he comes back here or anywhere else. But the idea that physically that's going to get any better is wrong.
So you think this is 31 years old and walking up the 18th hole? This is not something to where you can. It seems like the Colts feel like 2 years removed from the Achilles, he could improve.
If they think that they're a year, actually about 6 years behind, if everyone can go back, remember it was Kobe Bryant that was really the first major athlete that used this new technique, which is called PARS. And is kind of spearheaded by Neil Elitrosh, who's the Rams and Lakers Rams and Dodgers. So it's one of those situations where, no, they can't possibly be that behind.
Will Carroll, again, the injury expert, is with us here on Kevin and Query. I got a question from Jim on Twitter. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Will, so forgive me here, but he says, Paris Campbell, should fans be concerned with is it pedal foot fracture or pedal foot fracture?
Pedal.
Okay. Pedal he's saying pedal foot fracture in 2019 and then a pedal foot sprain in 2021. I didn't realize those were the exact injuries, but that's what he's saying.
Very interesting that he had the exact injuries. Kudos to him. They should, because it's recurrent. It's a foot injury in a guy who has to play half his games at Lucas Oil Stadium, where we've seen again and again, for whatever reason, even with new turf, we continue to see an incredible number of lower leg injuries, up to and including Jamison Williams the other night. Though he'll be fine. He's not going to drop too much in the draft. It's amazing to say, you pop your ACL in the championship and you don't drop in the draft at all because you'll be back for the season. But we've seen this time and again. I mean, Tua Tagovailoa's leg came out of his hip. They fixed him, and he was a first-round draft pick. So, with Paris Campbell, the recurrent injuries, you do worry about it. Is this a guy who in the first couple of years couldn't stay healthy? Those kind of guys don't suddenly get healthy. Really, the counterexample of that is Frank Gore, who had so many knee injuries in his early career, but yet had, it seems like he could still be going and he felt like it. So it's just not common for guys to go from having a number of injuries, especially recurrent ones, to being healthy, productive players.
Well, I know you're a big baseball guy, and so am I, working in the game, so the lockout is certainly concerning. I guess the good news here locally and around the state is that the Fort Wayne Tin Caps, the Indianapolis Indians, and the South Bend Cubs are not impacted by the lockout if it does cancel games. But for you, where is the lockout at? And Ken Rosenthal already wrote a story this morning about why baseball cannot afford to lose games in April. But do you think that progress is being made?
No, unfortunately not. The baseball owners have taken a lot of things off the table, saying, I don't have to negotiate the DH. I don't have to negotiate data freedom. I don't have to negotiate this or that. They're saying they have to negotiate core economic issues, and that's it. So, what they've wanted to get rid of arbitration, to make free agency longer, not shorter, as the players were hoping for. They're barely talking at this stage. And I think we're at a stage where there's no way we're going to open Major League spring training on time, but we don't start losing games, spring training games, until very early March. And remember, they've built out these complexes. They're getting big crowds there. The owners do start losing money at that point. So it'll be interesting to see exactly where it goes. But right now, no progress. But these things do come together, hopefully fairly quickly, once they start losing money. And that happens in March.
Well, it's just frustrating, right, Will, that you just get the feel that the fan perspective is not being taken into account when you're trying to build the game and it's losing traction.
It's not. It's absolutely not. Why wouldn't they? This is about money. This is no different than the NFL. This is no different than the NHL. This is absolutely no different than the NBA. They want to make money. The owners want to make more money. They want to control costs, and that's what this is about. So the idea that the owners care about us, it's generally not true. Shout out to the Ursays who at least make a good show of it.
Well, before we let you go, I want to go back to your Lucas Oil turf comment from earlier. Is this a league-wide issue that we see like in other, Houston indoor facilities, Vegas? I know Vegas and LA are new. Yeah. And then I guess, do we ever get to a point where I want to say it's Arizona that brings in the grass for the indoor games?
Well, yeah, remember that Vegas is grass as well.
Okay.
They actually carted in on some sort of system. I haven't actually seen how that works. And we don't have data on that. But, Houston did. They made a change. Indianapolis did. They made a change. They're the only ones that use a certain kind of turf now in the league. But, data just shows it. So turf is worse than grass. We know this. There's not a whole lot they can do about that. Absent, I guess, carting it in, and even that might be problematic. But, it's by the data, it's the worst in the league for lower leg injuries. So we'll have to see what they do.
Will, latest with you. If I'm not mistaken, I saw you were at Ball State yesterday.
Yeah, I was at Ball State helping out the baseball team, and they got some guys. I saw a guy yesterday throwing upper 90s, and that used to be unusual to major leagues. Now we're seeing it at a Division I college.
I love it. Well, enjoy the baseball season right around the corner. I know that's a big time of year for you, and as always, love your insight. Thank you for bringing the knowledge.
Thanks a lot, guys.
That's Will Carroll right there at the Injury Expert on Twitter. Very interesting about Eric Fisher.
No kidding.
Man, that is a D-O-N-E
yeah.
from Will Carroll. I don't think it's D-O-N-E at all at West 56th Street on him. So interested to see how that plays out. 9 o'clock hour, Sal Palantonio from ESPN. We'll talk big picture, little Carson Wentz. He also was in on the Hall of Fame vote yesterday. And Hall of Fame-wise, we're going to get to Reggie Wayne with Mike Chappell at 9:45. Saw Chap tweet yesterday, the average Hall of Fame presentation length about 5 minutes. Reggie Wayne, 22 minutes. So a lot of debate about Reggie Wayne and going into the Hall of Fame. So we'll talk to Chap about that as well. I'm Kevin Bowen. Brendan King filling in today for Jake. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
A while back, we at AmericanEagle.com were asked to build the e-commerce site of a major candy distributor. With the need for a website that could take into account everything from shipping times to local weather, because, candy melts, the task was not like taking candy from a baby. Fortunately, we live for a good digital challenge and free bonbons. So we got to work on a slew of complex integrations, including a shipping algorithm that factored in variables like distance, speed, and location. The website even let the end customer personalize their candy for special events, like weddings or, major website launches. When all was said and done, our client enjoyed a significant increase in traffic, which we were also well prepared for, and an increase in average order size. A sweet result indeed. For complex e-commerce sites, digital marketing, UX, and more, talk to the experts at AmericanEagle.com. Don't just grow, soar.
A few weeks back, I was lucky enough to chat with the owners of Golden Oak Lending. And this is no BS, but they are great people looking to help all of us save money. Our friends at Golden Oak are ready to help right now and get you refinanced today. Among the many things I love about Golden Oak is no cost for an appraisal. That's right. Simply just pick up the phone and seeing if they can meet your goals costs absolutely nothing. And who you talk to will be a local loan officer right here in Indianapolis. Golden Oak's experienced local loan officers make refinancing and buying a breeze, guiding you through every step to ensure you never get lost in jargon or numbers. No matter your unique situation or goals, you have an expert lending partner for life in Golden Oak Lending. Head to goldenoaklending.com right now to see what your home equity can do for you. NMLS 114937, 1.875% fixed, 2.952% APR, FHA, 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Hey, we're on to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is celebrating with a huge odds boost for new customers. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, you can get 56-1 odds on any team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Hey, you're not a new customer? You can still get in on the action with the divisional round same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. More legs you add, the more money you win. It's safe, secure, and reliable, DraftKings is. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Promo code 1075FAN. Get 56-1 odds on any NFL team. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code 1075FAN for 56-1 odds at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You got to be 21 or older. Indiana only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? 800-9-WITH-IT.
Of course, she needs a college education, but I don't want her buried in student loans for the rest of her life.
It starts here.
She needs a school with great resources, but some of these campuses are so big.
The School of Health and Human Sciences at IUPUI has the resources of a big university on a campus with a hometown feel. It's a more affordable option with access to career paths in Indy's world-class healthcare and sports entertainment hospitality organizations.
At those big schools, I'm worried she'll just be a number.
Hey, it starts here.
Hey, why not IUPUI?
That's what I was thinking.
Graduates in the fitness management and personal training or physical education teacher program are getting the country in shape at clinics, community centers, nursing homes, and more. Through research projects and internships, they gain knowledge to change lives as personal trainers, health coaches, PE teachers, and fitness directors.
The School of Health and Human Sciences at IUPUI. It starts here. Learn more at shhs.iupui.edu.
We're all in. Don't miss the biggest party of the year. Zach Brown Band live. Out in the Middle Tour. July 28th, Ruoff Music Center. The multi-platinum, Grammy Award-winning Zach Brown Band with special guests. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. Before the general public on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Get tickets at Live Nation. Zach Brown Band live.
Hey, it's Jimmy Cook with the Dan Dockett Show. Join Dan today as he recaps the big slate of college hoops from last night with ESPN's Seth Greenberg. Join Dan noon to 3 right here on The Fan.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
We're going to have Sal Paolantonio in 10 minutes here on Kevin and Query. And Mike Chappell in less than an hour to talk. Reggie Wayne and that Hall of Fame vote happened yesterday. Chap and actually Sal Powell both were in that room. So we'll get each of their thoughts. I think he's deserving to go in this year. But obviously not being in that room, you have no idea how the long 22-minute presentation for Chap went with him. Brendan King filling in today for Jake Query. It's at BKingSports on Twitter. We've talked a lot about the Pacers' Myles Turner injury situation, the trade deadline, again, February 10th for that. Jaden says, it feels like the Pacers should have already traded Turner. Feels like they're waiting to the last second, and that could hurt them. He goes, also, do you agree with me that Kevin Pritchard only makes a trade if his back is against the wall? You know, I think a big part of, like, being a GM, being a president, Brendan, is, like, admitting when you're wrong. Knowing when to cut ties. You know, I thought Ryan Grigson at times struggled with that as a GM. You know, I was nervous the Colts would hang on to Jacoby Brissett a little bit too long. Luckily, they did not do that. But, like, yeah, you want to try and, just a different coach will change this up. Yeah. And I just feel like Pritchard has not admitted that he's wrong with the Sabonis-Turner construction. I think he's waited too long for that.
Kevin, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some clashing of heads over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, just with the meeting between Kravitz and the media and Herb. And then I told this story yesterday that, Kevin Pritchard came on this time slot with Joe and I. And Kevin Pritchard said verbatim, I can't attract the big-time free agents here.
Tell that to Herb.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is.
Right,
but
right.
That's two totally different viewpoints, Kev.
Yeah. And
right?
that's the disconnect you worry about. And, it goes back to a little bit of the Indiana fever stuff we talked earlier. Ashley tweeted at me a little bit ago, Brendan. This is definitely an organizational issue the more I've heard you talk about the fever issues also. The Pacers issues are glaring, but I had no idea the Fever had released those top picks also in the past year. This is a crime. Dang. For those that missed that, it'll be up on the podcast a little bit later, but just to refresh people on it, the Indiana Fever yesterday parted ways with the 4th overall pick from last year.
Oh, boy.
Last year, they parted ways, and by parted ways, cut, release, whatever you want to call it. They cut the 3rd overall pick from 2020. We had Mark Dykton look up what would that mean in NBA terms. That would be an organization cutting who, Mark?
LaMelo Ball. I don't know if you would be interested in getting rid of him.
Maybe.
Maybe for LeVar.
Do you think that would improve the entertainment value over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse? LaMelo Ball in here? And then
what about having LeVar on the sidelines?
You talk about all of a sudden Jake and I go from human bowling to out the window. They have enough entertainment.
LaMelo Ball and Scotty Barnes on the Pacers. How would you feel about that?
I'd enjoy that.
I think so too.
What about we need a LeVar Ball and Lance Stevenson mashup?
Gosh, sign me up for that.
That'd be fantastic.
17,000 in there rocking.
Yeah.
That's what you got right now, though.
Yeah.
Pacers, Fever related. You saw a Sabonis floated around name. Did you see that?
Yeah, this is from Jason Anderson from the Sacramento Bee. That's a great paper name.
That is a great paper name.
Sacramento Kings have stepped up in their pursuit of Domantas Sabonis. They are including De'Aaron Fox in those discussions with a eyebrows up face from Mr. Anderson.
No one's untouchable.
I'd like that.
No one is untouchable. Alex Golden tweeted at me, if the Kings offer De'Aaron Fox and 2 first-round picks, that's hard to refuse. Dude, if they do that, 100%.
In an instant, right?
100% I part ways with Domas.
I don't know if I feel great, though, about using one of those first-round picks to get a reliable big man, though.
His biggest fear is they would draft Chet Holmgren. I mean, think about that, Brendan. Let's say you traded Sabonis. You would then be starting over at point guard with De'Aaron Fox, and you would have, theoretically, your own lottery pick, the Kings' lottery pick, and then I don't know what Sacramento's other first-round pick is. I mean, that's...
Brogdon at the 2?
Sure, and
then what do you get for Karras? I mean, clearly he's out, right?
If you move Karras and Lamb, are you getting, a Wendell Carter-type asset to go back to the trade?
So you're piecing them together?
Maybe. I don't know.
I wouldn't mind. That would be okay. Maybe you get an extra... Maybe if you piece Lamb into Lavertiel, you get an extra second rounder.
Is Sabonis really worth 2 first-round picks and De'Aaron Fox?
To some people. Hey, people
Doesn't
are crazy.
That seem like a lot, though?
When somebody, I don't know. It's not like the Sacramento Kings are trying to win now, but they drafted Davion Mitchell for a reason.
Another issue that I've had just kind of is skill set related. I feel like Goga has some similar traits to Turner. Not the same, but that's why I've kind of been more of the trade Turner camp. Goga could, not at the same level, but potentially, he could give you a little bit more off the bench, similar to what Turner gives you. All right, Sal Palantonio from ESPN joins us next here on Kevin and Query.
The Ride with JMV.
That was the most embarrassing and worst loss in the history of the Indianapolis Colts. That was complete and utter foobar. That's what that was. Coach Yost, remember the Titans, leave no doubt. You know what they accomplished yesterday besides just flat embarrassing themselves, which is exactly what they did. They left out on the future direction of this team.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It's CarX Tire and Auto, 14 Central Indiana locations helping you keep winter road ready. To find that location nearest you, log on, CarX.com today.
If you qualify, the VA loan program is the best option out there. Whether you're refinancing or buying a home, visit HeroLoan.com. NMLS number 1326241.
It's so good to have high school sports fans back in the stands this year, isn't it?
I couldn't agree more. We've missed their cheers, their energy, their spirit, and their support.
When you buy a ticket to high school athletic events, you're not only supporting your school's athletic department, you're also supporting your school's second classroom.
That's because the court, the gym, and the pool are where student athletes learn valuable life lessons that will guide them the rest of their lives.
From teamwork and time management to responsibility and respect, I'm Brian Lewis, a proud Jasper Wildcat.
And I'm Robert Falkins, a South Bend LaSalle Lion. We're both assistant commissioners of the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
We're also both educators, so we know firsthand that high school sports aren't just about winning and losing. They're about learning and growing, too.
So, buy a ticket to your high school's athletic events and support the education of teens in your community.
This is supporting your school. This is supporting your community. This is your IHSAA.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game and a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Did you know that January is National Soup Month? Come celebrate with Twin Peaks all month long. Warm up from the inside out with a Twin Peaks soup featuring brisket chili, green chili, chicken, and tomato basil. Twin Peaks. Good eats. Scenic views.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Janet. But since she is so focused on growing her career, we hired an actor to read her story.
At Geico, we really help each other. If anything comes up, we work through it as a group, so we all learn.
As a full-time employee, she can also get paid benefits like medical, dental, vision, and parental leave. She even got a plaque for her desk that says, "I'm kind of a big deal." Yeah, you are, Janet.
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.job/Indy.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Hey, JMV loaded and ready to go this afternoon at 3. Little Pacer stuff, Myles injury situation, Colts, college hoop, and more. You got to be here at 3.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
9 o'clock hour here on Kevin and Query. It's time to take a look around the NFL with a little bit of Colts flavor as well, with one of our favorites we've had on a couple times during the regular season, and it was a must to get him on for the playoffs. Sal Paolantonio from ESPN joins us now. And Sal, before we get to this weekend and Carson Wentz, I believe yesterday you had a busy day, Hall of Fame related. I know you can't share too much, but curious how our very own Mike Chappell did in presenting Reggie Wayne here in the class of 2022.
Oh, Mike Chappell does a great job, obviously. He's gotten a lot of guys into the Hall of Fame. Nobody does a better presentation than Mike Chappell. It was a long Zoom call, over 7 hours. So it was a lot of serious discussion by all of the 15 semifinalists. And I got to tell you, it was one of the toughest discussions in terms of breaking down to get to the final 10 and the final 5. It was a very, very difficult decision to have to make.
It kind of struck me looking at the list, Sal, there weren't as many obvious names. Like the first ballot guys, I mean, when you have Peyton Manning and Charles Woodson, that kind of speaks for itself. It seemed like there was probably a little bit more debate than it was maybe the previous year.
Tough cut down, absolutely. Yep, there's no question about it. You didn't have an automatic first ballot. You didn't have a marquee name. But you had a lot of really worthy candidates. Every single one of the 15 deserves serious consideration, and I believe deserves a bust in Canton, Ohio.
Hey, Sal, it's Brendan. For an Indianapolis Colts perspective around here, there's been a lot of conversation, of course, on Carson Wentz. But I guess from your personal standpoint, was there a shocked factor? Was there a surprise factor in how things went down the last 2 games of the regular season for Wentz and the Colts.
Yeah, absolutely blown away, shocked. When I looked up at the score and the Colts were down early to the Jaguars, I said, "Wow, that's a shock." And listen, Carson just had an awful game, and I've seen it before. I've seen it in a Colts uniform. Remember, I was there in Indy when you guys lost to the Titans, and you could just see the handwriting on the wall. It needed to be fixed, and it didn't get done, and now you have major question marks at the quarterback position. I mean, you have enough talent on that football team and enough coaching talent on that football team where you could have done serious damage, I believe, in the postseason, just by the way you were able to dominate in volume and production in the running game was unusual. If the quarterback just takes care of the football and makes the obvious throws, and that didn't happen, and that's just on Carson Wentz, and he's got to own it completely. So does Frank Reich. He's got to own it completely, and they've got to figure out going forward how they're going to handle this.
Sal Paolantonio from ESPN. Before we get to the divisional round matchup, Sal, you guys will have an NFL matchup playoff edition, correct?
Oh, gosh, yes. We just had a Super Wild Card Weekend edition, and we will have the divisional round edition on Saturday on ESPN2, I believe, this week.
Again, that's with Matt Bowe and Greg Cosell. Always a must-watch for me. One other thing on Carson. When you've heard Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay talk about Carson here in the season-ending pressers, they have strayed far, far away from committing to him in 2022. And I think you see other teams do the opposite. I believe Cleveland, publicly backed Baker Mayfield. Are you surprised to see the Colts' tone on Wentz change in just 1 year? Because I think by all accounts we thought, and it still could be this way, but we thought this would be at least kind of a 2-year trial based on his contract situation.
No, I'm not surprised. Not based on that performance. Absolutely not. And the reports of just how angry ownership and the front office is with the result. I'm definitely not surprised. Carson's on the clock. His career is on the clock. His career in Indianapolis, his career overall in the NFL. I think he's got to own up to that. And they've got to put some pressure on Carson Wentz. It's no longer, it's no longer okay to coddle Carson Wentz in this situation. I think he would understand that. And he's always tried to, embrace the pressure. But it's one thing to embrace the pressure, and it's another thing to respond to it and deliver. And I would just look at Josh Allen as an example of that. I mean, the Buffalo Bills got embarrassed on Monday Night Football by the Patriots. They come back, they go to New England and win, and then they just come back, and Josh Allen just takes the football team and says, hey, it's on my back. Everybody climb on board. We're going to the next round, and it's going to be all on me. Win or lose, and make or break. I'm going to be aggressive from start to finish, and I'm going to make plays. And Carson's got to do that. I mean, he really does. And, the thing is, though, he doesn't really have to do that. Because right now, you could make the argument, because Derrick Henry's nicked up, you have the best running back in the National Football League and one of the best running schemes in the National Football League. I would say Colts 1, 49ers 2, Eagles 3. So you have got a great running scheme, a great back, a great offensive line, a coaching staff that knows what it's doing. I mean, Eberflus is getting all kinds of interest as a head coach. I mean, Carson really has to he has to own up to it and deliver.
Sal, with the carousel of quarterbacks, though, the Colts have seen in the last few years, I mean, call it Luck, Brissett, Rivers, and now Wentz, did you have the sense early on in the season as we were preparing for things that Wentz is kind of Frank Reich's last shot for success here?
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. I mean, be more specific in the question. Are you saying to me that if Frank Reich doesn't get it done with Carson Wentz, then Frank Reich gets fired?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying to me?
Yes.
And I would say the answer to that is no.
Sal Paolantonio from ESPN is with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Sal, kind of shifting gears to the divisional round. Is there a game, I don't know, I think Bills-Chiefs seems to be the popular answer, but a game that you are looking forward to the most out of these four? I think you could make pretty strong cases, honestly, for all of them.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to all of them, but I am going to Kansas City.
Ooh, I love it.
For the Bills and the Chiefs. Yeah, it's the last game on Sunday night, and I'm looking forward to that. I mean, there's so many different ways that it could go. But you have a quarterback, and this is a cliche, but it's true. He's on a mission. Josh Allen is on a mission to prove that, they can finally get back to the Super Bowl. And Patrick Mahomes, he's a quarterback totally on a mission. They have fixed the problems that they had earlier in the year on offense. He's much more static in the pocket, not as frenetic, taking stuff that is available to him. And, boy, I don't know if you've watched it closely, but we just went through their offense in the last 3 games. Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy are getting really creative inside the red zone, inside the 5-yard line, in their ability to just okey-doke you, use deception, create different plays that you just don't expect. It is Andy Reid brought the Philly special to Kansas City, I'll tell you that. And so I'm excited to see those two teams. I really want to see a couple of things this weekend. One, can the Bucs block the Rams pass rush? Right? I mean, in 3 straight
Bucs O-line.
Yeah, absolutely. And in 3 straight possessions after Tristan Wirfs went out, and Ryan Jensen was hurt, their All-Pro center and All-Pro tackles. The Eagles sacked Tom Brady on 3 successive possessions on 3rd down. And the Eagles don't blitz at all and don't have the defensive line that the Rams do. So can they block him? I know Tom gets the ball out of his hands in 2.1 seconds. By the time I finish this sentence, the ball's already out of his hands. So, the ball comes out quick, but the Rams play a much tougher brand of defense, press coverage, get the pass rush home. As for Niners, same thing. Their defensive tackles in San Francisco are very underrated. They will flush Aaron Rodgers out of the pocket and make him throw on the run. He's very good at it, but their defense is much better than anything that the Packers have faced in the last 4 or 5 weeks.
So when you go back to, and again, Sal Antonio is with us from ESPN, when you go back to that Bills-Chiefs, I don't know if the venom is quite there, but do you see any kind of like Colts-Patriots vibes from the 2000s? And I guess a little of it is kind of trending towards the Colts finally getting over the hump, and we saw the Bills win a regular season game in Arrowhead this year, played really well in that game, and maybe this is the time where now it's the playoff side of getting over that hurdle against the team that has been the class of the AFC for the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Those Colts-Pats games were epic, and you used the right word. There was definite venom, and you had 2 Hall of Famers playing quarterback. I mean, those were epic games. I remember them so well. I remember Willie McGinnis coming off the edge, stoning the Colts on the 1-yard line. I remember all of those games. I was at every single one of them, and it was a real rivalry that was fueled by, serious dislike, serious competition. 2 guys who were headed to the Hall of Fame. One was in the way of the other to go to the Super Bowl. So I don't think it reaches that level yet. There's a whole lot of Philly going on in Kansas City this weekend. Not to be a homer about it, but Andy Reid's there, Steve Spagnuolo's there, Sean McDermott's there, Leslie Frazier there. You got coaching staffs from both teams that came right out of Philadelphia. So they know one another, respect one another, have spent a lot of family picnics together. I don't think you're going to get that level of venom in this football game. I think this is a game where you're just going to match strength against strength in terms of the 2 quarterbacks and the 2 defensive coordinators.
Sal, I want to ask you about Jimmy Garoppolo and I guess the rise and the fall of Jimmy G from the Super Bowl run and then to the 49ers drafting Trey Lance in the first round. That happened very quick, but is the playoff win against Dallas enough to turn the tide for Jimmy G on if he can have another shot maybe elsewhere? Does he still need to do more?
Dude, he went back-to-back on the road against the Rams and the Cowboys. What else do they want from him? I saw this report that Trey Lance is still the quarterback of the future. What? I mean, is that being put out there just so they don't lose the trade value of whatever they're going to do in the postseason? What else would you want from Jimmy G at this point? I just don't get it. He won the only, I believe this is correct, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. He was the only road team to win this past weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and the only, I believe, underdog to win this past weekend. So I don't know if you were watching Tim Hasselback's breakdown on SportsCenter at Scott Van Pelt, but Tim, I thought, did a really good job of showing how Kyle Shanahan, in his design, and Jimmy G, in his execution, used the Cowboys' aggressiveness on defense against them. Did you see that stuff where they had Jimmy G doing a lot of motions, a lot of play action, jet sweeps, fake reverses to get the Cowboys' defense to flow one way while Garoppolo was moving the other way with the football. He had a wide-open pocket and allowed the crossing routes to develop and get open. I mean, it was beautifully designed, and geez, I don't know if he can do that with Trey Lance right away. That kind of stuff takes time to develop. So I'm totally 1,000% all in on Jimmy G. Whatever happens going forward. I mean, back-to-back wins on the road and the only road playoff win in the wild card round. And I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked at all if San Francisco went in there and beat the Packers. Didn't Kaepernick do that once before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rodgers has had some issues facing the 49ers in his career in the postseason.
I mean, didn't Kaepernick go in there and do
3
it?
losses, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Come on now. So I'm all in on Jimmy G, baby.
I love it, Sal. On that front, and we'll end with this, Jimmy G's been a popular name thrown around here. If the Colts were to move on from Carson Wentz, where would you go? That seems to be the most difficult question to answer. Group together, Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins, when you factor in who you'd want, playing-wise, and then the realistic answer as well, do any of those three make sense here in Indy for 2022?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And if they are moving on from Carson Wentz, and I'm not necessarily advocating that because that's a hard decision, but based on what I have seen on film this year, it's A, not out of the realm of possibility, B, totally justifiable. So if they are going to move on from Carson Wentz, the guy I would take would be Derek Carr.
I think a lot of fans would be happy here, Brendan.
I do too. And Sal, I go back with what you said about Jimmy G, though.
Cheaper than Carson, too, right now.
I guess the Jimmy G injury history is the only thing that hampers that, right?
Well, yeah, of course. And Derek Carr, I mean, listen, you could go either way. I wouldn't go with Kirk Cousins. I just think, I love the young, energetic enthusiasm of Derek Carr. I love the toughness of Derek Carr. I love the toughness of all three of those quarterbacks. I just think Derek Carr's personality, everything about him is perfect for the city of Indianapolis, I believe.
I do think there is kind of some Phillip Rivers vibes. I think fans really appreciate
there's
that.
No question. Major Phillip Rivers vibes. Yeah. Absolutely. No question about it.
Sal, as always, we appreciate the time and energy. Remind us again, NFL matchup, you said Saturday, ESPN 2?
Right, so the NFL matchup show now is hard to avoid. We're coming at you from every angle, baby.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, we're on TV a lot. So you go ESPN 2, you just DVR NFL matchup and, just put it on. You manage your recordings on DVR and just watch NFL matchup that way, easy. You can get us on demand easily. Now, you can also get us on ESPN Plus, and we are now on YouTube, on the ESPN YouTube channel every week. And I just love the YouTube engagement with fans. It's fantastic. We're the longest running NFL studio show in the history of American television. How about that?
It's funny you say that, Sal. I don't know if I told you this when we talked back during that Titans game over in the Lucas Oil Stadium press box. I vividly remember waking up before my parents back in the day and coming downstairs and watching. You guys were either on like at 8 or 8:30 and dialing you guys up. And just, this was like loser, nerd Kevin Bowen at a young age being so excited to watch you guys. And now here I am at 32 and I'm still doing it.
Hey, listen, man. You got to do what you got to do in order to get ahead in this business, and that sounds like you had the right attitude right from the beginning. I'm impressed. Very nice.
Something like
thanks
that.
For having me. Thanks for always thinking of me and having me on the show. I love Indianapolis. I'm disappointed. I'm not going to hang out at that JW Marriott Concierge Lounge with the extra scrambled eggs and you sprinkle the cheese on it, you get your orange juice. Hang out, read the Indianapolis Star, whatever. But I do miss that aspect of the postseason with the Colts out. So, you got to get that right now. Come on now.
Got to get it right. Hopefully we'll see you at the Combine, and hopefully we can chat maybe before the Super Bowl again, Sal. Thank you for the time, man.
Yeah. Anytime. Thank you for having me, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
That is Sal Paolantonio right there from ESPN.com. You got to love his energy. Brendan, this is an ESPN national reporter. I don't think you typically get that much candor from him. I know he didn't, maybe wasn't the biggest fan of the Frank Reich question, but that's a totally fair question
happens,
that you asked him, and his answer, I think, is very reflection of what he thinks. He doesn't think that Reich and Wentz should be tied at the hip, but I always enjoy catching up with Sal.
No, Sal, great dude, and same thing. Watching SportsCenter every day as a kid before school. As when SportsCenter had that, the order of what the show's going to be, right? The bottom line or whatever. It was always like Sal Pal coming up with NFL reports, and you're like, oh man, I got to watch. Can't leave for school, Mom, until you watch Sal Pal's report.
I remember in college there was that issue with Terrell Owens where he left the Eagles facility and was they had him it was almost like they had him in the helicopters following the OG.
So when he was doing push-ups in the driveway?
And Sal Paolantonio must have done a 12-hour hit on SportsCenter just following the whole thing. And I remember just watching what the hell is going on?
Drew Rosenhaus is going to pee and Sal Pal is in the bathroom, waiting for him to come out. Yeah, I do remember that as well. But no, in all seriousness, Sal, for an ESPN reporter, I love his energy. And
he loves the J-Dub.
He loves the J-Dub. The 49ers thing is interesting to me. I think the Nick Bosa injury is a big deal. That's a short week now for the 49ers and going to Lambeau. I'm not maybe as sold on them, I should say, as Sal is. But, boy, from him and Will Carroll, we've had some pretty candid takes so far with our two guests
There
today.
are.
So
what's Chappie going to bring?
Yeah, I know. High standard for Mike Chappell, which
he's going to tell us who got in. That's what
exactly. He's going to say if Reggie got in or not. But if you missed Will Carroll earlier, injury related to Myles Turner, Eric Fisher, or Sal Pal, that interview, Mark will have that up in the podcast here. Before we get to Mike Chappell, let's hit a pop quiz with Indy Fuel tickets to give away. Let's get to a Big O Tire SportsCenter update.
The SportsCenter update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
I know I'm getting a lot of tweets about it. Brendan, I'm sure you're being tagged in. There's no Sal Pal BK beef. It was a fair question.
No,
I think Sal, it's a fair question you asked Sal. I think Sal gets
Frank
it.
Frank Reich is his boy. I get it.
And Sal's answer says, I think, everything. He thinks that's, kind of a foolish thing to explore. But the question needs to be asked.
If you asked that question to people around here, I'm sure the answer would be different. So
much different. Hell, if you asked it to Jim Mercer, it might be different.
Man. I just don't see.
I think they should be tied at the hip.
I just don't see another.
I think they should.
Another quarterback shot with Frank is just not.
Maybe if you draft.
I love Sal Pal. Nobody catch me off guard here. I love Sal Pal.
Maybe if you draft one late, trade up late first round, something like that this year, you would get another chance. But I don't know. Speaking of other chances, will LaVall Jordan have another chance next season with Butler? It's a tough question to ask on
5th?
January 19th, but unfortunately, it needs to be asked. 76-59. Here was LaVall last night on the loss to UConn.
Coach just got to do a better job with our discipline. We put them on the foul line way too much early, gave up threes to guys that we knew could shoot and didn't get to them. So we just got to execute better on both sides of the ball. But it was our defensive execution early on that got us in the hole, and then they do a heck of a job on the glass, always have. And so if you do get it right, you still got to battle when the shot goes up, and 16 is way too many.
Brendan, rematch tomorrow night inside of Hinkle. 30% from the floor, 31% from three. The freshman did play well for what it's worth, right? Jay Taylor at 19, and then what's his name?
My boy Simas Lukosius.
The Lithuania at 17? Is that right?
Yeah, European white chocolate.
Off the bench there.
Seriously.
He pulled up from 1-3. I swear he shot it from Rhode Island.
He is Jason Williams, like, not ESPN J-Well, but white chocolate J.
The white Jason Williams.
Yeah. White chocolate J-Well. I love him. So play, just like you want Isaiah Jackson to go to play for the Pacers, play the freshman for Butler, man. Baby. Especially when you look at who the Dogs are losing after this year, it's going to be Young next year. So get him playing time right now.
Tomorrow we'll get into it much, much deeper. Indiana and Purdue. I would say the anticipation for this one probably at the highest level I've seen in quite some time, given Purdue's ranking and just the drought for Indiana and where Mike Woodson has them at currently. Jeff Rabjohn's Rob Blackman will join us on tomorrow's show. It's a 7 o'clock tip from Bloomington. If you had to guess a line on that game, Brendan King, for tomorrow night, putting you on the spot a little bit here, where would you put Purdue as a favorite for tomorrow?
8?
I'm probably in the 6-ish camp. That's where I'm guessing.
Anything more than 10 would be egregious.
Yeah, agree. I think Assembly Hall is it's just a different animal. Granted, Purdue's won by double digits in their last two meetings down there. Certainly one that you hope the players on the floor finally embrace what this rivalry clearly has meant to Purdue. I feel like when I watch this game in recent years, Purdue is just more locked in, it means more. It means more, and it also, there's a connection between their coaching staff and the players on the floor and the scouting report that's necessary to get it done. And that says a lot about what Matt Painter has instilled into this program with this rivalry.
Well, I'm sure our friends at the IU Boosters and everybody that is feeding Mike Woodson's salary has made it very known to him that February of 2016 was the last W.
We saw the whiteboard after the Nebraska win on Sunday. Purdue in big letters up on that whiteboard there. So the Mike Woodson audio we played earlier in the week, I think he knows full well what that means. All right, the Pacers in action tonight. Second game of a 5-game Western road trip at the Lakers. So Staples Center again. We'll see if the Pacers can defend better than they did on Sunday. Lakers favored by 4.5. Sounds like LeBron, Russell Westbrook will be playing an over-under of 222.5. We know that Myles Turner is going to be out for this one. Going to be out for a couple of weeks here. And we've talked a lot about his trade situation and the impact of that. The Pacers are 3-17 away from home this season. I can't even remember their last road win.
Bulls? Maybe.
You know, Scotty?
Bulls was one of them.
Jazz was obviously at home. The Rockets game.
Well, they beat the Jazz on the road. They beat the Jazz on the road.
Right, but I mean most recently.
Oh.
Was that Pistons game at home or on the road?
That was at home, right?
I mean, it's been over a month, I think. God, Frank Vogel coaching for his job. I hate seeing those headlines.
I just love that.
If this is correct, this is insane. Their last road win was November 22nd against the Bulls.
Really?
They dominated them.
Unless I completely looked at that wrong. I'm checking right now. I'm checking my work.
November 22nd?
Yeah, that is correct. If I'm going to do a Chris Farley impression.
My gosh. What? How?
That is correct.
So Lakers tonight, Warriors tomorrow. Warriors tomorrow, Suns on Saturday. There is a good chance.
Holy hell.
Do you see them winning at the Lakers, at the Warriors, or at the Suns?
No.
Okay, so there's a good chance that would be 2 straight months without a road win.
Yeah.
I like our little team.
Well, they.
Oh my God.
Well, if you get De'Aaron Fox, they're going to be a lot more little.
Yeah, so bonus for De'Aaron Fox certainly is going to make you smaller. Brendan, I don't know if you'll be called out of the bullpen or if we will need to call you out of the bullpen.
Yeah, is Jake questionable for tomorrow?
For tomorrow. It sounded like he was, the Malcolm Brogdon. You thought he was going to get back in the lineup,
right.
But
he went out for shoot around, just couldn't.
If we don't have time to get to you tomorrow, just quickly divisional round. Any game that really stands out to you, any game you really feel good about, pick-wise. All these spreads are very close. Bengals, Titans at 3.5. The Packers, 49ers climbing to 6. I saw the Packers favored there. Rams, Bucks favored by 3. And the Bills, Chiefs, just 2.5.
I have a feeling.
City.
So the Tampa Bay line opened at a field goal favorite for the Bucks. I have a feeling the public money is about to get just piled on the Rams. So if that line starts falling a little bit for the Bucks, maybe that gets to like 2. I'll eat that all. Yeah, I'll take that all day.
Is that right, Scotty? Only 2? I thought they had 3 road wins.
I think all 3 road wins took place in November.
Gosh, man.
Sacramento?
November 7th, November 11th,
possible future home of
November
Domantas
21st. The last, the only.
November 22nd, yeah.
So
Crazy.
you think the public money on the Rams? Usually the public money I think goes towards Brady, right?
I don't know. Now that Stafford's got to play, it's just who's betting against the Rams right now?
How about this stat? The NFC Super Bowl rep has come from the West or the South in 8 of the last 9 years. Would you put money on the Rams-Bucks winner going to the Super Bowl, or would you still ride the Packers?
I put together a little crazy championship ticket. $1 to win $20,000. Ready?
Whoa. Tell me more.
Bucks to win the Super Bowl. Villanova to win the national championship.
Okay.
The Florida Panthers to win the Stanley Cup. And the Phoenix Suns to make the NBA Finals. I won $20,000.
Wow. Okay. What are the Florida Panthers' chances? I know little about
we're the best team in the league right now.
Oh, geez.
Top President's Trophy right now. So that is probably going to be the toughest, but considering I am a Florida Panthers fan, I will be rooting even more for them. But anyway.
If you win that, will you just take me to the Chatham Tap? That's all I want. Just Chatham Tap, Butler's campus.
I'd take you there anyway.
Well, I mean, like, pay for it.
Okay, I'll buy you a beer.
Okay. Well, I was hoping we'd get food. You go to the food too? I mean,
yeah. Okay. I mean, instead of Chatham Tap, I'll take you to the Sal Pal's JW scrambled eggs.
I want to. Boy, now that could get a little pricey. Man. I want to be on Butler's campus, man.
Yeah, you can come party in the house for a night.
Oh, jeez. Gosh, I'd be hungover for about a year.
Oh, jeez.
And I don't know if my wife would be signing off on that one. Speaking of signing off, Matt Eberflus going to have a second interview with the Jags. Sounds like tomorrow. Shad Khan involved in that second interview process. Is he the favorite in Jacksonville? We talked about that a little bit earlier. Something we'll throw Mike Chappell's way in about 10 minutes. But coming up next, pop quiz time. Indy Fuel tickets. Saturday night, their Chicago Blackhawks night. Give us a call. We're giving those away, winner or loser, on the pop quiz. 317-239-1070.
SportsCenter updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Save $100 instantly on select sets of 4 tires from Hankook, Toyo, Continental, Nitto, General, Pirelli, Goodyear, and Nexen. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Join us on The Fan every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. to tune in with Jason Hammer on You Bet with Bet Rivers. This week we're talking NFL playoffs.
Come to Auto Sales and Service and drive home in a vehicle with no credit required. They've been helping people find a new ride in Indy for 35 years. Stop by their 2 Indianapolis locations.
The Madhouse on Madison returns to Indianapolis this Saturday night as the Fuel celebrate their NHL affiliate, the Chicago Blackhawks. Blackhawks anthem singer Jim Cornelison will be in attendance with special Blackhawks giveaways throughout the game. Make this Saturday night special. Put on your favorite Blackhawks jersey and cheer the Fuel as they battle the Kalamazoo Wings at 7 p.m. Get tickets now for Blackhawks night at IndyFuelHockey.com. That's IndyFuelHockey.com. Indy Fuel Hockey. Come for the experience, stay for the game.
Did you know Amazon provides ways of working that fit your lifestyle? They know you value your time outside of work, juggling family, school, friends, or other activities. That's why they offer a variety of shifts that work for you. There are full-time, part-time, and even temporary opportunities that can work with your schedule, with great starting pay and sign-on bonuses. If you want a career that fits and adapts to your lifestyle, head to Amazon.com/apply. Amazon is a proud equal opportunity employer.
Home values have skyrocketed.
And Golden Oak Lending can save you money with their low 1.875% rate.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With our low rates and your increased equity, you can make home improvements or pay off debt.
Woo-hoo! Plus, skip your next 2 mortgage payments. Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937. 1.875% fixed. 2.952% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
At Kroger, fresh groceries are our thing, so we check your delivery order for freshness at every step from farm to store and pick and pack every veggie in your free pickup order with care, because we treat your food the way we'd want ours to be treated. We're fresh every day, so shop anyway. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Free pickup on orders of $35 or more. Restrictions may apply.
Now's the time to stock up and save during the Kroger Big Pack sale. You'll get big deals on big packs of hundreds of items throughout the store. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Switch to Spectrum Mobile and get unlimited data for only $29.99 per month each when you get 2 or more lines. You could save hundreds on your mobile bill. Plus, there are no added taxes, hidden fees, and no contracts. Try the Spectrum Mobile Savings Calculator today, and in 3 easy steps, you'll see how much you could save. Visit SpectrumMobile.com/save. Offer valid for new customers on 2 or more unlimited lines. Spectrum Internet required. Restrictions apply. Visit SpectrumMobile.com for details.
This May, it's time to come back together again. Back to the spectacle. Back home again. Buy your tickets now and save. This is your chance to experience everything May has to offer at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Opening weekend shifts the month of May into high gear. Be there for the GMR Grand Prix, Indy 500 qualifying, Bump Day, and the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge, May 29. Get your tickets now before prices go up and come back home again. Tickets and info at ims.com.
The Ride with JMV. Rick Venturi joins us. Rick, how does this roster look now?
The overall roster is really not bad. The problem is when you get past Taylor and Leonard, you lack the playmaking ability to change game. We have so much money tied up in guys that play in the box. Game in the NFL is one on the edges and one on the corner.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 till 6
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
You know, I didn't know that I needed to see it, but the Jim Irsay deadlifting video from last night that he tweeted out, it just made my day. Brendan King, you just got your first look at it. How much does he say he weighs in that video?
307 pounds, squatting 525 pounds.
Hey, to tell you what, man, Jim carried that weight well. He looks like DeForest Buckner carrying 300 pounds.
How did NFL Films not unearth that for Hard Knocks?
See, I still think, and I want to have Steve Trout on like in 3 months, Mark, to kind of, okay, now that you can decompress, what are your thoughts? They had to have had a ton of Irsay stuff they never got to. Mm-hmm. Trout traveled with him a lot, and like, obviously, you're planning potentially for future shows. That video. Oh, my gosh.
Jim has a large chest in that video.
Boy. Tom Zupanzik helping him out there on the old deadlift there. Okay, let's get to the pop quiz again. Indy Fuel tickets to Saturday night. You two will be in the building for that one. Chicago Blackhawks night for the Fuel. Brendan King, a number 1 through 8.
Oh, I think in honor of 300-pound Jim Irsay, we got to go 3.
Got to.
Okay.
Got to.
Well, we're riding the Dragon because Dragon is on.
Wait, say that again?
Dragon.
I wish. My name's actually Greg.
That's fantastic.
Man, Greg the Dragon. I imagine like a Dragon nickname. You're like a great dart thrower, Greg. Oh, here comes Dragon. Dragon, the ultimate closer.
I swear I heard Dragon. I must be.
Greg, can we go with Dragon?
You know what? That is a cool nickname. I would take it.
I think we just figured out, Greg, what you're going to be called for the rest of your life.
Yeah, this is it. I hope Greg's friends listen to this show and they can catch on with that. All right, Dragon. Brendan, you want to throw number 1 at him?
Yeah. Which one of the remaining NFL playoff teams can advance to a 4th straight conference championship with a win this weekend?
Ooh, probably the Bucks.
Well, Brady's only been there 1 year.
So that wouldn't work.
Famous barbecue.
Dragon, similar colors to a dragon.
Who else was in the Super Bowl last year?
The Bucks were in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct.
Dragon.
You're not doing your nickname well, Greg.
Dragon, if you got the nickname. The team that could be in Missouri or Kansas.
Titans?
Patrick Mahomes plays for them.
We're gonna have to dump Dragon.
Sorry, Greg.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, no
Mark,
more.
Who do we got?
Tori,
please help us.
Save us.
Who else was in the Super Bowl last year?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tori.
My
Gosh. Tori, you deserve the Dragon nickname. All right, the Bengals won the first playoff game in 31 years with their victory over the Raiders last Saturday. Against which team did they record their last playoff win in January 91? A, the Raiders, B, the Chiefs, C, the Dolphins, or D, the Houston Oilers?
Oh, you may have to get the Dragon back on here, but I'm going to have to say the Chiefs.
Okay.
Tori,
come on now. You have not been that bad.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, come on.
Thank you for getting answer number one correct. Florida State knocked off 6th-ranked Duke in overtime last night. The Seminoles head coach Leonard Hamilton now has 55 wins over AP top 25 teams when his team is unranked. That sets a new record in D1 men's basketball since the advent of the AP poll in 1948. Whose record did Hamilton break for the most wins over AP top 25 teams when you're unranked?
Oh, you got to give them the choices, right?
Oh, sorry. Gene Cady, Bob Knight, Digger Phelps, Jim Boeheim. Sorry.
Jim Boeheim.
Boy, Brendan over here almost treated Tori like Sal Pal there.
I totally blanked on that. I was still thinking about Mr. Dragon.
Butler lost to number 25 UConn by 17 points last night, set a Big East record in the process. The Bulldogs have lost 8 games against ranked opponents, their last 8 games, all by 15 points or more. God, that's horrible. Name the former Big East school that set the old conference record of 7 straight losses against ranked opponents by at least 15 points. The Hokies of Virginia Tech, the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, the Mountaineers of West Virginia, or the Hurricanes of the U. Speaking of Inner Sandman, right?
Yeah.
And you said unranked?
No. They've lost 7 straight games by at least 15 points to ranked teams. Name the last Big East school to have done that.
They've got a really cool football intro.
Very cool.
The Mountaineers, West Virginia.
I'm sure they do.
I guess they do too.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's shockingly end this with number 5.
Tori, how's your hockey knowledge?
There's some there.
All right, let's go. On this day in 1996, the NHL approved the sale of the original Winnipeg Jets. Where did the Jets move for the 96-97 season? Denver, Atlanta, Phoenix, or San Jose? It's very hot there.
Oh, Santa Fe.
Well,
this got off the rails real quick.
Tori, you are going to get the tickets. I guess somebody, had to get them, right?
Yeah, well, you're going to a hockey game, so maybe you'll...
All right, number 1, the remaining team that can go to their 4th straight conference championship game, the Chiefs.
Boom, baby! Or the Titans of Kansas City.
Yeah, gee, I don't know. Dragon, I think, might have been a little bit early in the morning there. Number 2, Brendan, he guessed the Chiefs again. The Bengals won their first playoff game in 31 years over their victory over the Raiders. Which team did they record their last playoff win? He said the Chiefs, the correct answer.
Well, this is Tori now. It was the Oilers.
You blew it!
You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
You lose. Good day, sir.
In my opinion, that sucked.
Loud and proud.
The Jim Irsay video from
Joel.
What was that, week 2 last year?
Against the Vikings, yeah.
Vikings.
Joel commented in the YouTube chat, Jim Irsay, GYM.
I love it. Bob Knight. That's who Leonard Hamilton beat the record of with the most wins, unranked team over an AP top 25. Virginia Tech was the last Big East team to have the drought that Butler's currently on. And Phoenix, as Brendan King tried to hint at. Did he say Santa Fe? I don't even know if he said Santa Fe.
Yeah. He said Fanta. Yeah.
Thank the Lord. That is over. Luckily, we will save the show, or Mike Chappell will save the show. From CBS 4 and Fox 59, the Hall of Fame candidacy of Reggie Wayne. Mike Chappell presented that yesterday. We'll get Chap's thoughts on that next here. Listen to Kevin Aquari with Brendan King filling in today on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
This ad for Hellsberg Diamonds has been specifically written for those who'd rather think about hockey than engagement rings. You're at a game and your team scores the winning goal just as time runs out. Now, if that game is your proposal and you're running out of time to find the perfect engagement ring, Hellsberg Diamonds is your winning shot. Our combination of quality diamonds, wide selection, and a price match guarantee means you can be confident in your Hellsberg Diamonds engagement ring buzzer beater. Visit your local Hellsberg store and ask about our amazing financing options or check us out at hellsberg.com.
Hey, are you a single professional man looking for a life mate? If your do-it-yourself approach for finding her isn't getting you the results you want, why not hire a pro, like me, so you can take your game to a new level? I'm Amy Owens, singles coach and matchmaker. Maybe you've been looking for a while, or maybe you're newly divorced or widowed and haven't had a date in years, even decades. I can offer you tips, strategies, and introductions to some of Indy's finest single women. These ladies are active, attractive, fit, smart, accomplished, and financially self-sufficient. The only thing missing from their lives is the love and companionship of a good man. If that's you, please give me a call at 317-727-6331. That's 727-6331. Or check out my website, blueribbonsingles.com. Why Blue Ribbon Singles? Because it's the winners who get the blue ribbon.
Score big on the NBA action with this special offer from BetMGM. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on any game. If either team hits a three-pointer, you'll win $200 in free bets, regardless of your bet's outcome. Just use the bonus code THEFAN200, all one word, capital T, capital F, when you make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. Enjoy the NBA like never before with BetMGM's live betting options, boosted odds specials, and daily promotions at your fingertips all season long. Plus, earn M Life Rewards through BetMGM online play to use at any MGM resort nationwide. Turn loyalty points into comps for room nights, restaurants, and more. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
The biggest sporting event of the year is just a couple weeks away. Score the best views of the game and come in for the ultimate game day experience. Or visit online to order to-go or delivery and enjoy your Twin Peaks scratch favorites from home. Twin Peaks. Good eats. Scenic views.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight guaranteed, only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. Lose your desire to smoke or your money back. Seminars are selling out fast. Limited weight loss seats available Thursday, January 20th at the Holiday Inn in Carmel, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminars Thursday, January 20th, 8 to 10 p.m. at the Holiday Inn in Carmel, and Saturday, January 22nd, 2 to 4 p.m. at the La Quinta Inn and Suites in Indianapolis. Registration begins 30 minutes before seminar.
Hey, it's JMV from my good friends at Connecticut Water, the absolute best, and kicking off 2022 right once again at the Indianapolis Home Show, January the 21st through the 30th. Great discounts and more on the best ways to get the great Connecticut Water in your home. And no, I'll be doing my show live on the 21st of January from 3 until 6 at the Indianapolis Home Show. Great deals and more with Connecticut. For more info, that's ConnecticutIndy.com today.
They've rocked over 35 million fans around the world.
It's my
Bon Jovi, the 2022 tour. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, April 19th. Get tickets Friday, January 21st to 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Bon Jovi, all their anthems for one incredible night. Presented by Hampton Water. For more, check BonJovi.com.
The Pacers stay in LA continues as they face the Lakers. Tonight at 10 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Well, I know someone that slept very well last night, and I assume that is Mike Chappell after 7+ hours of Hall of Fame debating yesterday amongst 49 voters. 15 finalists were voted on yesterday. We'll find out the 5-person class for the class of 2022 coming up in February. I want to say, for some reason, I saw the date February 10th. I could be wrong on that. But Mike Chappell from CBS 4 and Fox 59 joins us now. He was in that virtual Zoom room. Chappie, you get some sleep?
Yeah, it's a long day. It's 7.5 hours, and gets heated on some, but it's interesting, but it's a long day.
And we find out, was that right, February 10th? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
It's, they sort of separated, I think that's a few days earlier than everything else, but they wanted to make it a special night. I think it's a Thursday night. I'm not sure. I haven't got my calendar in front of me.
I just looked at it. It is a Thursday night, Super Bowl being February 13th, of course. Everything pushed back a week this year with the extra regular season game. All right, you tweeted out 22 minutes for Reggie Wayne. That was your presentation time. Roughly, you said about 5 minutes was kind of the average time on the other semifinal or other finalists. Why do you think the debate with Reggie is so long?
Well, there were like 3 or 4 of them about 20 minutes, and it probably because we had Reggie, Andre Johnson, and Torrey Holt to discuss. And once you bring one guy up, they all sort of bleed into it. So there was just a lot of things to go over because, boy, when you look at it's which flavor do you like? It really is, and each three of the guys all had strong parts of their resume. Andre Johnson's is a little bit shorter, and he's a first year eligible guy. Which I tell you, there's not a lot I can say. I mean, I know who the 5 are, and I know if Reggie got in or not. And I said let's do it this way. Right now, I'm going to blink once if he's in and twice if he's not. So hang on here.
All right, can we FaceTime you, Chap? Wait just a second. We're going to FaceTime you, okay?
So with first-time guys, I think you really need to be the guy. I mean, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, you need to sort of stand up and say the guy's name and sit down. If you have to argue a guy, he's probably not a first-time guy. But with Reggie and Torrey Holt, they've both been waiting 3-4 years, whatever it is now, and there's just a lot to go over. Not so much maybe. I think another one along this debate was Devin Hester, the Bears guy, unquestionably the best kick returner in NFL history. But there's always this special teams stigma that you have to get through. Well, he only played X number of plays a game. Yeah, but when he played, Tony Dungy decided they're going to make a statement and kick to him in the Super Bowl, and how'd that work out? So there's a lot of stuff to go on, and what people have to understand, and I understand why they don't want to accept it. You only get 5 guys. All 15 guys are certainly Hall of Fame caliber, and we can argue which are stronger. So when the 5 come out, people are going to say, "Well, I wouldn't have put him in." Or I wanted this guy in. Well, who would you take off? No, you can't. I don't want to take anybody off. No, it doesn't work that way. So it's 5, and that's why some guys wait longer than others. Edgerrin had to wait a while, longer than I thought he should have. Marvin Harrison had to wait 3 years for crying out loud. That still, irks me that he had to wait 3 years.
That's a joke.
But it's just kind of the process.
Chap, I looked this up yesterday, and we'll move on just a second, but Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt, okay? Reggie's playoff resume, I think it might be his strongest asset.
Exactly.
6th in yards, 4th in catches all time. I think Travis Kelce's about to pass him in catches, but still, that playoff resume. Then if you look just regular season, though, Chap, Reggie Wayne, 10th, and I know you know all this, but just for our listeners, 10th in yards, 10th in catches, 27th in touchdowns. Torrey Holt, 16th in yards, 22nd in catches, 39th in touchdowns. To me, there's little to no debate.
Well, what I led off with is I thought the most defining stat in Reggie's career is there's only 2 players in league history that rank in the top 10 regular season and postseason in yards and receptions, and that's Reggie and Jerry Rice.
I mean, it's a long career. It's a productive career. It's regular season. It's postseason. It's all Pro Bowl, Super Bowl. The only in where a guy, and they did to present Torrey Holt, is if you go per game averages. Well, his per game averages are a little bit better because he didn't play as many games, so you break it down per game. He had more yards per catch. He had a few more yards per game, since maybe that's the way you even it out. Reggie and Andre Johnson are just about neck and neck, and then and this is what you get into. Well, Reggie had Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, and Andre Johnson's primary quarterback was Matt Schaub and David Carr. So you're holding that against Reggie? I mean, you didn't hold it against Andre Reed because he had Jim Kelly. So that's why it takes 8 hours, and that's why in this case with Reggie and other guys, it takes 15, 20 minutes to go back and forth. In fact, one thing that was really funny last year, and I just about went through the Zoom thing. A guy mentioned on Reggie, he said, well, can you explain to me how in that playoff game against the Jets, he had one target and no catches? And this is a Hall of Famer? And I'm thinking, are you kidding? One game? How about the time Brett Favre threw 6 interceptions in a game, for crying out loud? So it's you've got 49 people and 49 opinions, and you got a couple nut jobs that apparently, occasionally come out into view.
Hey, Chap, it's Brendan. We got about 3 minutes here, but just from a playoff standpoint and watching Wild Card Weekend, did it take you a minute after the Jaguars game for it to really hit that the Colts missed the playoffs? Because really the first playoff game it hit me is like, all right, the Colts aren't playing this weekend.
It's unbelievable. And you look at some of the teams, Pittsburgh, and, I just – is it better to make the playoffs and get blown out or to not make the playoffs? No, make the playoffs. To not get in, I don't care how you get in, but the finality of it always hits me as you're busy, and this is just us, and then you're not. And can you imagine how it is in the building when you leave on Saturday for the game, fully intending to come back on Monday, ready to go again, and it's over. It's just crazy, and you guys have been dissecting it, I'm sure, but there's so many things to point to. And they get their work cut out for them in the offseason.
He's the Dean, Mike Chappell, CBS 4, Fox 59, with us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Chap, your level of surprise that apparently Matt Eberflus is a finalist in Jacksonville.
In Jacksonville, it's funny. The tweet I saw that's really kind of funny, is, well, of course he is, because he brought it to best in Trevor Lawrence. But I think
how do we tap into more of that?
What's that?
How do we tap into more of that, Coach?
Yeah, I know. From talking to him on our Zoom calls or in person, he's so detailed and he presents himself well. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he's gotten the interest. Jacksonville kind of surprises me, although he's about as opposite of Urban Meyer as you can get. So maybe that's what they're looking for. But I wish him the best if he gets it. Second interviews, it shows you they got more than just passing interest in you.
Right. I know. I just think it's the whole offense to me. If, let's say he brings, and we got about a minute left, let's say he brings Marcus Brady with them. Okay, if Marcus Brady calls plays or something and Trevor Lawrence takes off, well, now you're looking for a new offensive coordinator in 2 years, and Trevor Lawrence could be regressed. And I know I'm getting way ahead of things, but, that's the reality of hiring a defensive coach with a young quarterback.
Well, to me, every move they make's got to be with Trevor Lawrence in mind. So if you're going with the defensive coach, head coach, he's got to bring in a stud offensive coordinator. I'm not talking a quarterback coach, but an offensive coordinator, the Jim Caldwell type guys who are great with quarterbacks. Because if you don't, then it's not going to work.
Chappie, I know it was a busy day for you yesterday, and we had Sal Pal on earlier, and he raved about the presentation you did on Reggie Wayne. So a lot of work, and hopefully it'll pay off here in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Well, I told you what I did. I blinked the appropriate times.
I know, and I thought you blinked. I think Reggie's getting in. I know you can't say anything any more than that, but I think he deserves it.
We'll see you. Thanks for calling.
That's Mike Chappell right there. The steel trap, Mike Chappell. Will Carroll, Sal Palantonio, those podcasts as well with Mike Chappell. Will all be up. Some great insight from all of them. BK, we'll see if tomorrow you'll be called again, but thank you, man.
Bullpen.
7 a.m.